Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 152 of Shacknews Presents Pop Goes the Culture. I'm Donovan Erskine, news editor here at Shacknews, joined as always by Greg Burke, our illustrious head of video. Greg, happy Thursday morning for you on the West Coast, buddy. How's it going? Oh no. Well, Greg tries to figure out his microphone. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pop Goes the Culture, our movie and
There we go.
television news discussion show. Greg, your audio's coming through now, you
Yeah,
said?
I'm better now. Yeah, sorry.
How you doing, man? Happy early Thursday for you over there on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's rainy. It's rainy and
Hey, it's
it's
rainy here too. Last week it was the same temperature, and now it's raining in
it's
both
it.
places.
We love rain out here, but then all the fire departments like great. We had a great watery winter, late January. Now
Right.
fire season, everything grows and then dies.
Yeah. We're not so different, you and I. And I have to tell you, Greg, I'm always excited to do our show, but today in particular, I was very excited putting together our run of show just because of the things we're going to look at and talk about later on. I'll be ready to react to some trailers, buddy, because we've got new trailers for Fantastic Four, Jurassic World Rebirth, and Final Destination Bloodlines. And those are just the ones that made the cut. There were more movies that got trailers this weekend that I just didn't put on our list because
Oh,
I
you
don't
didn't want
think
to put,
we
you didn't want to
care.
put the Smurf trailer on.
I didn't put the Smurfs trailer
I,
on there.
the one
I,
with the I don't understand that trailer. I mean, like I don't understand. Like, is that really an IP that we think is valuable? It's the weirdest thing. Like, what?
it's an IP that someone owns that was valuable at one point, which means it could be valuable again, is their thought process. But no, we didn't put the Smurfs on there. I also didn't put Hurry Up Tomorrow, which is like the weekend movie with Jen Ortega. I don't really care about that either. We got the big three though, and I'm excited. But that is not going to be our first story. I never like to put the most exciting story at number one unless it's like breaking news. Instead, we're going to kick off, Greg, with some news that came out yesterday about the live action Gundam movie. Bandai Namco has confirmed that it's making the live action Gundam movie, and we got something you usually don't get with production announcements. Is they released the first poster for it, which usually is not something that happens until a movie is much further along in its like marketing cycle. But it's like the outside of like the Earth from space. You can see like the silhouette of Earth and then the darkness of space, and there's like a little beam of light or flames is kind of moving in like a circular
It's
shape.
a
I
it's a
don't know.
very teasery poster. They used to
Yeah,
do posters like this. It's actually kind of a throwback to when I was a kid, where they would have just like a symbol or a logo
yeah.
or like something like a hint. It's called a teaser poster, so like, which is
Mhm.
kind of cool.
Yeah, which fits this IP because Mobile Suit Gundam is old. Were you into Gundam? Are you interested in a Gundam movie? I mean, I imagine this is going to be like technically not kaiju, but I mean big ass robots fighting
I
against stuff.
I had friends that were really into it, and so like I did the whole like friend thing. It was like, oh, I like it too, but I wasn't into it.
Sure.
Like I just wanted
Yeah.
to watch the robots fight, but there was so much talking in that show and like very little fighting. Same thing with Dragon Ball Z. There's very little fighting, a lot of talking. And I was a kid. But like I remember I've seen the memes like shut up and get in the Gundam. Shut up and get in the Gundam.
Right.
Genji, whatever his name is. I've seen the meme. I,
Mm,
I don't know. I
yeah.
mean,
I mean,
it's
the show 1979. Jesus, it
well like
shows older than I thought.
Gundam, not the first Gundam, but Gundam Wing is like the one that got really popular. Same thing with like Dragon Ball. You have Dragon Ball, and then you have Dragon Ball Z, and Z is the popular one. Z is the
Yeah.
big, huge one.
Well, this is. It looks like this is like the OG, like Mobile Suit Gundam, which was like the
Oh,
original animated series from way back in the day.
okay, sure. I mean, why not? I mean, big giant robots. I mean, like Pacific Rim is a great movie. You can watch one and two. Those are both
Yeah.
really, if you like Gundam, that's basic what it is. That's exactly
Yeah.
what it is. So if you want to watch those cool movies, just go watch those movies.
Yeah, this is a very good point. Here, I do want to read a little bit here from their press release. Bandai Namco Filmworks, which I didn't know that Bandai Namco Filmworks was the thing. I didn't know they had a company for that.
It
A
will be
member of the Bandai
established. It's
Namco
new. Yeah.
group. I see. And Legendary, which we know Legendary didn't wait. Didn't Legendary do Pacific Rim?
Yes, they're a
I feel like
production
that was
company.
them.
Yeah, you can confuse.
Yeah.
There's distribution, then there's the
Mhm.
production
I know.
companies.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know Legendary is.
No,
I
I'm
just didn't.
explaining to the viewers. Yeah, yeah.
Right. They're. It's just interesting that the Pacific Rim people are the also doing Mobile Suit Gundam. Have signed an agreement in January 2025. So again, this is like fresh off the press to co-finance Gundam, tentative name, referred to as Gundam, a Hollywood live-action film adaptation of the Mobile Suit Gundam series. Well, there you go. It seems like we're reaching like a new era of IP adaptations, Greg, where we're seeing a lot of like co-financing now. We're seeing like how like Nintendo just co-financed the Mario movie with Universal. It was like a
Yeah.
50-50 production. They didn't just like give the Mario license to another studio and was like, here, do your best. They're like, no, we're in there. Like, not like Bandai Namco's like, we're in there. Like, we're Bandai Namco Filmworks. We're making this movie with Legendary. We're not just giving them our IP and telling them to make a good movie out of it. I think it's interesting. Obviously, we've passed the eras of so many of these IPs getting like horrible, schlocky, cheesy adaptations that I guess a lot of these IP holders are a bit more precious about their franchises now.
Well, it's it's dipping the toe in the water, right? And like, is this an IP? That it has like Gundam is a known, like, even if you don't know what it is, you've heard of it, right? It's one of those household things. People have heard of it, may not know what it's about or what it is, but they've heard it, right? So it's just definitely like they're trying, right? They're definitely gonna try. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, I guess, in Gundam and some other IPs like Power Rangers and all those, like the Super Sentai things that they say, right? The Hope I say that right. Hope I'm not calling it something
I,
completely wrong on the internet and live television. It's called Super
I
Sentai.
don't know.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I never got into Gundam or really anything like it. I like the Transformers a little bit when I was a kid, which I guess you could say you don't get that without Gundam. Always liked the design of it. I know that it's huge in like Japan, right? Like they had, I believe it got taken down at some point in the last few years, but they had for a long time that like building-sized Gundam like figure, a statue, um,
No, it
over
was there.
there.
It's at a
So,
mall. I was just there like last year. I took pictures
oh,
with
it's
it.
still there.
Yeah, it's they might
Uh,
might have been another one there, but there was another. It was outside. It's 1-to-1 scale. It's huge, and it's a part of a mall.
mm. Yeah, so that's like a huge IP over there. So, of course, anytime Hollywood can tap into that international market while also getting all the anime kids in the United States, they're gonna jump in. But this is like a massive franchise. Like just reading the stuff they say in this press release, I knew Gundam was huge, but like bigger than I thought. Since its debut, there's been 25 animated series, 34
Hmm.
movies, 27 OVAs, then streaming content event stuff. Like massive franchise, generated over 900 million. I'm sure the movie will push it over that 1 billion mark. But I mean, you talk about just like the amount of material out there. It's as much as any franchise in entertainment. Probably far more content than we've gotten for even like Star Wars or Pokemon. Um, when you lump it all together. So
Yeah, I mean, it's done a ton of stuff, and that is a huge toy line, model line. They had a store dedicated just to Gundam models in Japan that I went to. It was small, but like that's all they had, which was kind of cool. Different
yeah.
scales, different levels. I did a Bandai Namco booth tour a couple years ago at Toy Fair. I'll do one again this year, and they show all their new
Oh
Gundam kits that are
yes.
coming out. I mean, like, and someone will correct me on the internet if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure like Gundam was one of the first, not the first, but one of the first Team Robot Giant animes. And without Gundam, you don't get Power Rangers, you don't get
Yeah.
Transformers, you don't
Well,
get, you know,
Bandai says in their press release that Mobile Suit Gundam established the genre of real robot
yeah,
anime.
there you go. Yeah, so it's
You know.
definitely, yeah, it's one of those pillars of like the first things
Uh-huh.
that may not always be the most popular version of it, but it definitely, like, sparked imagination for
Yeah.
years to come with people.
It
Um,
is one of those franchises where if you haven't watched Gundam, you've watched something that was inspired by it and didn't know it because it's kind of like that big of an influence, sort of thing. Um, which is always neat. And honestly, it's kind of crazy to think that we're just now getting like the big budget Hollywood live action movie. This feels like something that would have happened in like 2003 and would have been like really bad and then made like
anime was a
$500 million.
anime was a very slow. I mean, like you had the big AAA stuff because I was in the verge of the '90s. I was in that prime time before it was like mainstream, and then like you kind of got your mainstream ones trickled in, right? It started with Sailor Moon, then you got Dragon Ball Z, then you got Pokemon, which exploded it, and then after that you get your Naruto's. It started. It became more and more I guess what the word is, like, acceptable, or it became more and more available in the states as like it started to grow. It's been this long process for it to become like its thing. Like, I remember because it was only the mainstream ones that I knew about when I was in high school and middle school and junior high. And then, obviously when I graduated college and all the other ones come out, and they will always have the mainstream ones, but we're seeing these live action anime adaptations now, Cowboy Bebop and One Piece Pirate. And I think that, like, we talk about there's trends in Hollywood all the time. I feel like the next logical trend is anime adaptations because why not? I mean, like, you have all this IP, it's been around for decades. Let's give it a shot, And who knows? If it does well, you'll see more anime adaptations. If it does worse, you won't. And that's basically the bottom line.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle it, man, because I know video game adaptations for a long time had the stigma of just being bad always, no matter what. But I would argue that anime is even worse. Now, there have been less anime adaptations, but the ones we get, I mean, people hate. You look at like Dragon Ball Evolution or the Death Note movie, and people just cannot. It's not even like, oh, these are bad. Like, they are like offensive to people who love the original animated stuff. So they've got a ways to go. I mean, don't get me wrong. There've been some exceptions. I know One Piece got a season two on Netflix. People like that one a good bit, but it feels like more often than not, people are like disgusted with a lot of the live action anime stuff, especially when it's like American
Oh, Death Note
um
too. Yeah, I think they mentioned Death Note as well. Yeah.
focus. Yeah, I mentioned Death Note on Netflix. Yeah, people hated that shit. So they've got a large hump to get over to win over the anime crowd when it comes to like getting excited about live action stuff. But anything's possible. Anything is certainly possible. Um, and yeah, they say here they're gonna. This is very Nintendo's like statement. I just want to say, like this whole like press release the Bandai put out. This is very Nintendo, where they're like, "Hey, this is Furukawa. I have spoken to this gentleman from Universal Pictures. We are planning to release the like." It is very like it feels like we're being presented this in like a boardroom. I don't hate it. It's just interesting for them to do. In my experience, I don't remember Bandai doing something like this before. But even just like on April 1st, 2025, a North American subsidiary, Bandai Namco Filmworks, will be established for the production of Gundam. We plan to announce details steadily as they become finalized. This is like a very carefully articulated and orchestrated announcement. This was not just like the president of Bandai Namco having like the Hollywood Reporter, Variety, or Deadline just put out the press release and let people get hyped about it. They were like, they want to control every second, every detail of the communication about this movie from the
You,
moment we find out it exists until it comes out.
sidebar to that, like it's because I think it's because the way Japan does business is a little bit different than the U.S. Like just the way they handle
Sure.
things, because it's a different country, right? Different rules, different mindset. But on the franchise, they talk about one of the executive producers for the studio. We talked about that show, The Franchise, last week. He went to Comic Con, and one of the jokes is like he made like 10 announcements that weren't planned, so now they have to do all this shit. He was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do a crossover. Woo, it's hype, yeah, yeah." Everyone's screaming. He's like, "You made 20 promises. You made all these promises about crossovers in movies. Now,
You made 20
now,
promises.
now we're in trouble." And that's the thing. Like, it's riding that wave. I think like based on just we cover so much Nintendo, right? I'm gonna use this as an example. Like, I feel like Japan businesses, most, not all, but most, they go slower. It's a slower pace, and that could be because they're working with American businesses and trying to get that together. But they move at a slower pace than
Right.
like America does. Like America, like when something's hot, you're gonna get it every 2 years for like 10 years until people are sick of it, and then they'll throw it in the garbage. Like Freddy versus Jason, like the Freddy movies, right? That's they'll
Sure.
keep making it until like everyone's like, "We're done," and then they'll reboot it 10 years
I
later.
mean,
Yeah.
specifically to the Nintendo comparison, right?
Mm.
We're getting a little off topic here, but even with their games, there was a report a couple years ago, Greg. I don't know if you remember that, like, it was a big deal when like Nintendo let Ubisoft make the Mario Rabbids game because it's like Nintendo never lets anyone touch
Yes.
their IP, and they're like
Yes.
super careful about their collaborations. And then they made the second one, and it was like still good, but it just didn't like wasn't as big of a deal that time. Do you remember that report that came out that was like Nintendo told Ubisoft behind the scenes to like hold on to doing a second one. Be like wait, like don't like don't put a bunch of like sequels on the same platform for like the one game. Like maybe space them out and make it feel a bit more like unique or not. And Ubisoft did it anyway, and then it like undersold. And it's like they have a philosophy about this stuff that they are very particular about. They know what they're doing, and it has worked tremendously for them. So yeah, it's not surprising that this goes into film as well. So this is interesting to see. I mean, kaiju big robot stuff makes a lot of money, and it makes a shit ton of money when you do it well, right? I mean, we don't love the last, Godzilla X Kong, whatever the hell, but that movie made hundreds of millions of dollars, and it wasn't even really good by most metrics. So if this comes out and people are like, holy shit, this is actually like loyal to the source material. It's good, we got great callbacks to the anime. The fans feel honored, blah blah blah, whatever you want to say. This thing could be huge. It could very easily be a new blockbuster franchise for Legendary, and Bandai Namco Filmworks. So, as someone who doesn't care much about that IP, I'm curious to see how it turns out. It's interesting. Um, I'll be looking out for more information on that. Oh, there you go. Is that the
That,
one you saw?
that's the giant Gundam outside. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Why do we do this? Like, I get that Japan has Gundam and Godzilla and like anime and stuff. America, we've created so many cool on-screen characters and creatures. Why don't we have a big ass King Kong that's just like 30 feet tall, standing in front of like a random like mall in New York City or something.
Because Donovan, one, space is expensive, and two, we got to spend money on things like the Sphere in Vegas instead.
But Vegas would be the perfect place for that, right? I mean, we have so many cool, iconic movie monsters, television characters. I feel like we don't do it as much as we should. There are only a few examples I can think of, right? Like in Philadelphia, I forget where it is, but they have like the Rocky statue, and it's like we have a statue for like a movie character who doesn't exist in real life, and I love it so much because I'm like, it's rare that something like that happens. And then in L.A., like the AMC Burbank 16, they've got like the Batman statue outside the movie theater. We need more shit like that, man. We have so many American characters.
They do it in Vegas. They did like a commission for like different superheroes in Vegas, and Batman's in Las
Okay.
Vegas. But like that's like the worst place for Batman to be.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's so much corruption there.
I mean, I'll tip our hand. We're gonna talk about like the new Jurassic World movie soon. Jurassic Park, one of the greatest blockbusters in the history of cinema, an American creation. Why don't we have a big ass, life size T-Rex like statue in the middle of like California somewhere? You know, like we should just have that. Should just be a thing in like San Diego. You know, earnings calls in like another 2 hours. But we should, you know, we should have more of that stuff here, but we don't because we're just not fun. But you're right, it is space because that would be like rent. Or I'm sure somebody's like, we could put a McDonald's there if we.
Well,
did
yeah,
a
and like and
dinosaur.
malls, and like you want to put it at like a theme park, or you want to put it in a, like a public location or a mall, and like that's just to get business there. But our malls are dying, so at least out here they are. Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
but that's
you
a good
put a
idea. They
T-Rex.
should. I mean, it definitely would bring people in to take pictures, and like it's definitely a tourist attraction
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
They should do it.
yeah, they certainly would, but we won't though, and that's all right. We're gonna talk more about the Gundam movie later on, but until then, Greg, let's move on to the meat of our run of show for today, which I have titled "Trailer Reaction Extravaganza."
I wish I had
Um,
like a soundbite that did like epic music, but I lost my soundbite.
we're gonna be reacting to 3 trailers today: Jurassic World Rebirth, Fantastic Four, Fantastic Four: First Steps. It has a subtitle, and Final Destination: Bloodlines. Greg, I think we should just go in descending order here. So if you just want to pull up the trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth, a movie that I am deeply, deeply anticipating.
Okay, I'm gonna transition, and then we're gonna go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Dr. Henry Loomis, this is Zora Bennett, our mission
Yeah, they're
specialist.
immediately doing the
Sorry, what mission?
nostalgia, the
This
banner
would be a
around
medical
the statue.
breakthrough that could save countless lives. It comes from the largest dinosaurs on the planet.
Oh my God. Fortunately for us,
The
all
hell are
these
those?
species exist
Those
in one
long-ass tails.
isolated place. Can you be ready tomorrow?
I can guarantee your safety. I mean, more or less.
I don't think you can,
More or
Scarlet.
less.
That's good. Also, are we talking about Isla
Who's your
Sorna
guy?
We're the
from
best
The Lost
at
World,
moving
Jurassic
things
Park?
And people in and out of places they shouldn't be.
Move up towards Barbados, avoid government patrol, but there aren't that many anymore.
Why's that?
No one's dumb enough to go where we're going.
This island was the research facility for the original Jurassic Park.
The research facility for the original Jurassic Park.
DNA
That's
biggest
Isla
dinosaurs.
Sorna, right? That
Do
was.
we have to get a sample from an egg?
East Lunavar
Also-
or whatever, is that what they call it? Sorry, I'll pause. East
Well, that was.
Lunavar?
That's where Jurassic Park was, but there was like the
It's a
research
perfect
island
target
from
for
Lost World that
comparing
was
to
like.
Oh yeah,
Isla
that's right.
Sorna.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The cinematography in this looks great. But just as I'm watching this, I mean, the way this movie looks is quite pretty. This summer, blockbusters are fucking back.
These dinosaurs were too dangerous for the original.
Please don't say they're raptors. That's a raptor.
raptors. They're raptors.
The worst of the worst
Yes.
were left here.
What the hell is that thing, dude? I think that was a classic Jurassic Park van or Jeep. Dilophosaurus popping up.
We put ourselves in a place we don't belong. Survival is a long shot.
Fuck yes. The Spinosaurus. It was like a
What the hell
horde
are
of
those?
Spinosaurus.
They're helping the mosasaur.
Defend territory, stalk, hunt.
None of what you just said is good.
Oh, Rebirth this July, the greatest birthday present a man can ask for. Goose Walker says Rebirth gives me aliens vibes. I agree. Yeah, it does have that alien vibe. I mean, even whatever the hell that dinosaur was behind the red screen in that lab, its head looks like a xenomorph. Um, and then they said correct, and yes, I assume that was like the stuff I was asking during the trailer about Isla Sorna and whatnot. Um, I'm gonna surprise nobody and say that I think this is exciting. I love how this looks. A few things I want to say. One, this movie's being directed by Gareth Edwards, he directed Rogue One. He also did a movie called The Creator. This guy has an eye for the camera. This movie looks good. I mean, just like the scene where like the plane is coming in on the water, or we see the like what I'm assuming is like a pteranodon or a pterodactyl flying through like the mist in between the mountains. Uh, the colors popping off the screen on Mahershala Ali's face. It like looks good. I know that people have sort of shit on the last few movies for their the way they look, but I think this one actually looks good. It seems like a low bar to clear, but I suppose it is one. Also, the story, I'm a bit confused because so the original like Jurassic Park 1993, the first Jurassic Park movie, right, is like it's on like you said, Isla Nublar, which is
Isla Nublar,
where-
right? Is that how they say it?
Isla Nublar, yeah, where they built the park, obviously, and then in the sequel, Lost World, which was like 97, I think. They revealed that there was a second island where they were like testing everything. That's where they were like breeding the dinosaurs. That's where they were just like seeing what the hell they couldn't do. And that's where they go in that movie, and that's why it's like, we're doing this again. And since then, it's mainly just been those two islands. And in this one, the way they describe it, it sounds like Isla Sorna, because they're like, this is where they were like testing. They said this is where all the dangerous dinosaurs got left. Um, but they don't call it that, which makes me think it's not that. I feel like they would have said that because it would have been an easy nostalgia play for fans of the series. So maybe they're gonna introduce a third island, I guess. I think the dinosaurs look great. The fucking T Rex looks cool. He's got like a striped pattern on it now. That's not Rexy. That's like some new T Rex that's over here on this island. The Spinosaurus I love as a Jurassic Park 3 enjoyer. That movie went all in on like the Spinosaurus. We've got him swimming through the river. Now I've never read the Jurassic Park book, the novel by Michael Crichton, but I know that a scene from that book was never used in the original Jurassic Park, which is when they're on the river. And they've got like the T Rex like swimming after them, but they're doing it in this movie, which I think is really dope and is a cool callback to that. That scene looks good. They're teasing some sort of like mutant hybrid dinosaur creature, which makes me think of the Indominus Rex from World 2015. But like I mentioned earlier, when I was responding to Goose Walker, this thing looks like a xenomorph head. It is really strange looking creature. But it's even got like a weird gorilla thing going on with the like the way its claws are like at the bottom of its arms. But I'm all in, baby. This July, my birthday's in July. I can't freaking wait. I am counting down the days. TJ says the big land dino in the dark looks kind of like the brute predator from the game Evolve. Oh, it does look like the thing from Evolve, yeah. Huh. Well, there you go.
R.I.P. Evolve.
R.I.P. Evolve, yeah. A 1,000 live service games have died since Evolve. Greg, what did you think?
I mean, like, I don't know how many movies we have to go through before people decide to bring real guns to these things. I mean,
Hey, they
like,
have something there.
okay, I can get the first trilogy gets a pass, but like after that, like you're going to these
They got
areas and
weapons.
you don't. They're like tranquilizer darts or something. They're not real guns, which would solve the. Which I guess makes sense because you can't have them real guns because then nothing would be a threat, right? Because you just shoot the raptor in the face, do whatever. But like we've never. I don't think we've ever seen. Have we ever seen a dinosaur get shot? As just last time, no one dinosaurs ever get shot with a gun. They've never been shot. The entire franchise. I think it's like the running.
They get shot.
thing.
I mean, they're not running around like assault rifle SMGs, but I'm pretty sure in World were they shooting, or either World or Lost World or Fallen Kingdom. I think they were shooting.
They don't.
I mean,
They,
you don't
they
have
don't
like
get shot,
soldiers on
TJ.
foot,
Though
too.
they don't get shot though.
Well-
He misses, but like no one brings guns to these dangerous areas, and it really confuses me.
Well,
But
here's the issue. These people aren't trained with fire. These are scientists. These are guys who are like lab nerds. They don't know what are they gonna do with an assault rifle. Probably do more harm to themselves than a dinosaur. Goose Walker says it's like 50-50 chance of being good. David Kep is behind movies like Dial of Destiny and The Mummy, not good ones.
oh
Yes.
no,
So
he did
as
that.
Goose Walker mentioned,
Oh.
but here's the thing: David Kep also wrote Jurassic Park, like the 1993 movie Jurassic Park. And this is his return to the series because he hasn't written since the maybe Lost World he might have written. Um, but yes, he's also written bad movies. Look at the filmography for any screenwriter who's written 10 movies or more, and you're gonna find a terrible movie in there because you know what? It's more than the screenplay that makes a movie. But god damn it, I can feel the juice. You know, sometimes you just feel it. Sometimes something just feels right about a movie or a game or a show. And something just feels right about Jurassic World Rebirth. We got a new filmmaker. We bringing back the OG writer. We got a talented cast. I mean, Mahershala Ali and ScarJo. You're talking about two Academy nominees slash winning actors. We've gotten away from the Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard. Don't get me wrong. I love Bryce Dallas Howard in Jurassic series. We get away from those characters. We're not doing the nostalgia Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum trio anymore. Like we've moved on. Slate's clean. I'm sure there'll be homages, but I'm excited for a new story with new characters. Look, man, she's got like a freaking assault rifle, whatever the hell she's got in her arms. They're gonna be shooting them things. But I'm excited for this. I think this is gonna be good. I think that they will not let me down because also that is a huge fucking syringe. Jesus Christ.
Definitely
God,
the
these
summer
movies-
blockbuster movie.
they're just so fun. We need them. We need them. We need to be able to go to a movie theater in July and have a good time and walk out smiling and laughing. Goose Walker says, I agree. I got really tired of Chris in my Dino movies. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love was his name's Owen. Is it Grady? Owen Brady in Jurassic World movies. As much shit as Chris Pratt gets, I did like him in those first couple Jurassic World movies. But yeah, by the time we got to Dominion, I was about ready to move on from just about everybody in those movies.
I'm not seeing a lot of animatronics in the
What's up?
trailer. I'm seeing a lot of CGI dinosaurs.
Well, you don't know. They
It's
use a
true.
mix.
It's true. It is a trailer. It's not showing us all the things.
Yeah, I mean it's a blend. I do know for sure though that the when you see the head going into the water, that T-Rex one, I know that one is CG because I saw the ILM. Some animator at ILM was like, "I'm glad everyone likes this shot. I animated this one where the person's like swimming in the water, and you can see the head like snapping down at them." Uh, yeah, I mean these movies have always been on the forefront of special effects in movies, both practical and digital. As you know, we've talked about on this show, Jurassic Park was the movie that one George Lucas saw and realized, oh, the technology is finally there with computer graphics. I can make the Star Wars movies I've always dreamed of, which is how we got the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Um,
I've seen the tests. The stop motion tests are really cool. I think they're online somewhere. If you want to go watch those for the first one,
Sure.
they did like a stop motion testing for that to see how it would look.
yeah, yeah. So, gosh, I'm very excited. I love these movies. Jurassic Park is my favorite movie ever made. It is still my number one. I have seen so many movies. My top 5, top 10 has fluctuated throughout my life.
Well, how many you've gotten? You've gotten a couple TV shows, a handful of games,
Of
and how many big movies? Is this the sixth movie? The sixth movie, right?
Jurassic Park. This will be Jurassic Park 7 because they
Okay.
made 3 parks and 3 worlds, and this will
There you
be.
go. Two
Oh, well, technically,
trilogies.
this is also
and then, yeah.
another world. Yeah. So they did the animated shows on like Netflix, which are actually like surprisingly. It's one of those like, oh, this is better than you think it is. I believe it's Camp Cretaceous is
Yeah,
the one.
Moan, I laughed because my friends were watching that and they had to like turn it off and cover their child's eyes because it gets really dark really quickly.
Dude, no, seriously. I watched the first season over the pandemic with friends because we had just heard it was good. And one, it is good, but two, it's like sneakily like not a kid's show. Like it starts off, it's got like Jenna Ortega and she voices one of the characters. But like early on that show, like people are getting like eaten
Yeah.
by dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And it's like obviously they don't show you a body getting ripped up, but it'll be somebody going, no, please, and then the camera cuts to
No,
like
please,
a
God.
tree. Yeah,
It
the
hurts.
camera cuts to like the sky and you hear a crunch and you see like a flock of birds go flying. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I have a chat with some of my friends who have a bunch of kids. They're like, don't watch. We have to watch it first. We have to watch.
Yeah.
You should. First of all, if you're letting your kids watch stuff, you should always watch it first if they're that young, just to be sure.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I thought.
Yeah,
that was
there's
funny,
like
yeah.
there's a scene where they're like on a monorail trying to like escape, and like one of the friends, like one of the kids, like falls off into the trees. It's very dark, but it's a cool story because the whole idea of it, Greg, is like it's after Jurassic World. So essentially, Jurassic World's like the park's open, it's a real thing, and then everything goes wrong, right? And then people evacuate. Essentially, the story is like this group of people got left behind, like park goers, like a family, like teens and whatnot. They were there, got left behind after the evacuation, and are stuck on the island. It's a cool show. It's got like 4 or 5 seasons. I've only seen one, but I did like it. And yeah, there's a new game in development for Jurassic Park by Saber. I want to say Interactive's doing it.
Oh,
They
interesting.
put out like they did a cinematic trailer a couple
That
summer
was
game
years
fests ago.
ago. That was years
like-
and years and years ago.
It was like
Yeah.
2023, I think. And don't get me wrong, the cinematic trailer was cool as hell. It was like somebody, first person running through the island. We see raptors, T-Rexes.
It's a
and shit,
survivor game, right? Donovan, first
Yeah.
person survivor game. Yeah.
but I need to note that game is still even being made and to see gameplay. TJ says, how it's eating me, I'm being eaten.
It's being eaten. Yeah.
Ow.
I'd still
Yeah.
say my big, it's a dumb gripe to sit on, but like stand on. My biggest gripe is that this is now the 7th time you're going into a park unprepared. Like bring more than 2 people. Bring
They
like
got,
they're
they
all
got like
those,
12. They got
that's
like
all
12
cannon
people
fodder.
there.
They're all gonna die, and then they're gonna get separated from the group, and then they're gonna have to find their way back to the boat, and they're gonna have no weapons because that's how the series plays out. It's kind of like I guess it's a staple at this point, just how it works, just how the thing works. Yeah.
Here's an overarching theme that I would have just mentioned here that I'll leave before we go to the next show. The whole, I think, message of Jurassic Park and is become the message of the overall series is the hubris and ignorance of humanity and us in this belief that we are the most superior and dominant species on Earth. And even things that are bigger than us and stronger than us and faster than us, we believe that we are still smarter than them, and therefore we are the alpha and they don't pose a threat to us. And it is, humanity trying to control nature and trying to play God.
Well, that's
They
Michael
say it in the
Crichton's
first
book.
one.
Yeah, that's his first.
you
That's
know?
his whole.
Yeah.
Those
And
themes
it's-
run entirely through his novel. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's humanity learning that lesson over and over and over. And being the humans that we are, we don't actually learn. We don't actually go, okay, wait, we aren't the kings of the world, and maybe we should just leave all these things. No,
Right.
they do it in this movie. I'm sure they're like, no, like everybody else that went and got eaten, they did it wrong and they were dumb and they weren't as smart and clever as we are. We'll be fine because we have the boat with this armor on it, and we've got this scientist that taught at Harvard for 20 years. But that's it's part of the whole point there. Goosewalker says July is looking like a crazy month for movies. Jurassic World, the 2nd, Superman the 11th, and Fantastic Four the 25th. I pray so hard that all 3 of those movies come out in July. Part of me thinks that one of them will delay just because, just the business move, it makes sense to give yourself all the box office room. But I would love nothing more than to be able to go see Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, and Fantastic Four all within 3 weeks at the movie theater. I will just be a kid in a candy shop this summer at the local cinema. And speaking of movies coming out in July, Greg, I think we should jump to our second trailer reaction here for Fantastic Four: First Steps, as they are officially titling.
All right, I avoided
movie.
this for days.
Ooh,
So we'll see
okay.
I'll see.
It's been
we'll
a few
see
days.
what
Give me a 3, 2, 1, so I
it-
can
Sorry,
watch with
see
you.
it? Stop right there. All right, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Welcome to the Baxter Building.
We make a point to do family dinner every week. Sunday at 7.
I
on
love the
dot, no
4 by
matter
3
what.
aspect
We're all
ratio.
here.
1960s,
Yeah.
cool time period.
Herbie,
And we
how's
expand
that sauce
out.
coming?
That's sick.
Yeah, I'll be the judge of that.
It's cousin.
Okay. Okay, is this guy good or what? I want to add a couple cloves of garlic. Not because it's not delicious, I just want to add a little bit of zip, okay?
Look at Herbie.
T-5.
Before we went up the first time, you couldn't turn invisible. Ben wasn't a rock.
The best pilot in the world right here.
Yeah. Best looking, he means.
And Johnny never caught fire.
Ben has always been a rock. Johnny is Johnny.
Hi.
And I am right here. Whatever life throws at us, we'll face it together.
Looks gorgeous. God
As a
damn.
family.
That's a terrifying shot of the Galactus silhouette over New York City. Oh man. Welcome to the family.
To
July
me,
25th.
this means that the Robert Downey
Activision.
Jr. thing is going to be like a cameo. Wouldn't that be hilarious? They beef that up and it's just an end screenshot of 5 seconds.
That's not this movie, Greg. You're thinking of
Oh,
the
that-
wrong movie. He's gonna be in
oh, okay.
Avengers. He's
Oh,
not in
okay.
this. Yeah.
I mean, I love the style
This
of production of it. I'm really like this is like I missed this because everything when you make it an MCU, this is just fact. Yeah, the movies have to make sense that they live in the same universe, so they have to look very plain. Like they can't look very aesthetic, like Batman '89 or this movie. Like it's very stylistic. It's
well,
great.
I think that's because the MCU is supposed to be set in the real world. So
Mm.
the movies are just supposed to look like the real world. I don't think they're intentionally being like, let's be basic. I think it's more so we want New York City to just feel like the actual New York that people go to. But this though, I mean, they nailed the 60s aesthetic in this. I say as somebody who was born 30 years after the 60s ended. Um it looks beautiful. Like the interior of their, like I guess I don't know if they're in the Baxter building or wherever their headquarters are at. In this one where they're cooking in the kitchen, like the cool like rotating fridge. I love that the trailer starts off in that like 4:3 aspect ratio and then kind of widens out. Um, is really cool. Even the suits, they look like the 90s Fantastic, or was it when did that first Fantastic Four movie come out? Like the 80s, like the old one that people hadn't
They're
seen.
cloth,
It's
yeah.
like
They're not like they
yeah,
don't
it's
look
like
like a
the
basketball. Like that's the big thing. They
yeah,
don't have the
it's
basketball
like
texture. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I love it. Even like the scene where you see them in their astronaut suits before they go up on the mission, uh, is really cool. I like the look of Herbie with like the little dials moving around on his face. Um, I said about the Jurassic World trailer too, but visually stunning. It looks
The
beautiful. The
production
shot where they're
design is
looking out,
fantastic. Yeah.
it is, yeah, it's gorgeous. Where they're looking out on New York. Obviously the shot at the end of the Galactus silhouette over New York is pretty haunting. Gave me some Nosferatu vibes. But I love it. I was a little timid about the Pedro Pascal casting
Okay,
as
this
Mr.
fan
Fantastic.
casting.
Not because I think he's a bad actor. I think Pedro Pascal's a fantastic actor, but he is in everything now. And whenever you have an actor like that that's in everything, all their characters kind of start to blend together. You know, he's Joel, he's the Mandalorian. Now he's going to be Mr. Fantastic. I think he looks good in this. I like him with the little gray streak in the hair and the astronaut suit. Vanessa Kirby, somebody, I think she's great. I loved her in the last Mission Impossible. Um, I think she looks like a good Sue. I like her little monologue where she's kind of saying they've always been who they were before they got the weird powers and stuff. Um, I don't. Have you seen The Bear, Greg? I know I've talked about it on this
I watched
show.
a
It's
little bit of
the
it, but it was really depressing,
okay.
so we stopped watching.
It is. They yell a lot. But the thing is, the cousin from The Bear.
Oh, okay.
If you remember, the one who's like always yelling, telling him to shut the fuck up. That's him. So when he started talking, I was like, oh, it's cousin. And it's funny that in his scene with Herbie, he's cooking and talking about ingredients and stuff. Um, yeah, and then of course, Human Torch is your boy Eddie Munson from Stranger Things, who's also quite good.
I mean, I like it. I was so sick of the MCU, and I was so sick of the alternate universes are a fun place to visit, but for a hot minute there, we were just living in it, and I was just like the variants got really old for a while, and like Deadpool 3 worked because it was making fun of that. Really, like that was the whole point, was making fun of how dumb it is. But I mean, if this is its own standalone thing and they don't have to weirdly connect it to anything the MCU, I'm down. I miss
Yeah.
these movies that had just they can be their own stories without having to connect to a cinematic universe and be their own thing. I love it. That's what I want. I want to return to form to that. And if this is the first, pun intended, first steps toward that, I'm all for it. But if they
Well,
want,
Greg,
yeah, it's yes, good. Are you gonna ruin my? Are you gonna ruin my thing?
I'm gonna give you some good news and some bad news.
Okay.
Yes, this movie is standalone. In fact, I believe it's not even set in the main MCU canon. I think it's like six. It's not 616. It's like its own universe.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna see like the younger versions of characters, whatever. As in the 60s. That said, they 100% are gonna like. It's somehow in the next event they're gonna like pop out of a portal or like throw them somewhere. They're gonna show up again. I promise you that the Fantastic Four will not remain by themselves. There's no way. They will be, with the fact that they're gonna make Doom the villain for the Secret Wars movie, and Secret Wars is about different worlds converging on each other. These guys are gonna show up in Avengers, whatever. Maybe not the next one, but the one after that. That will definitely happen. But this movie itself, though, will be contained. I mean, you're not gonna get like Captain America showing up. Or
I like
something.
that. I like its own unique thing. I want it to stay. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a cool thing that you don't see a lot of anymore. And like I said, I like the casting, I like the story. And Fantastic Four is arguably a very hard IP to adapt because it's so cheesy.
Literally, yeah.
It's really cheesy, but at its core, it's about a family. And like that's why the first Fantastic Four movie that had Chris Evans in it, if you remember that movie,
I do,
wasn't
Jessica Alba. That was my childhood, man. I love that movie.
it was yes, there were a lot of bad things in that movie, preferably the Doom casting, and a lot of the action was pretty poor. But all the family interactions were great because they're family. Like that's what they
Yeah.
are. Like all that stuff of them talking, they felt like a real family. They messed each other like a real family. I loved all of that. That was like one of the highlights. If they can nail that again, make them feel like
Mhm.
they're a family, like without being cheesy and not being like,
Right.
stereotypical Disney. That would be great.
I'm optimistic about it. Just the way that they've talked about this movie, and even in the interviews, the cast seems to have gotten along really well, spent a lot of time with each other. They seem to love each other quite a bit. You look at all the interviews, and Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby are always hugging and holding hands and stuff. I hope they know that aspect. I will say it
Mhm.
is funny. We're doing the thing now again where like a franchise is being rebooted, so now people are going back to the like maligned versions of it and are like now reappraising them. Like this week, I have seen so many clips from the like 2000s Fantastic Four
Yeah.
and Rise of the Silver Surfer movies of people being like, "I love this scene, I love this moment." Ben on the bridge when his wife or his fiance like breaks up with him and gives him the ring back, or like Chris Evans, Johnny asking how the Thing has sex with his girlfriend and whatnot. Like all these things, people are like bringing back, and I'll be like, "Oh man, this movie was
The
so
family
good." And I'm
dialogue,
like,
the dialogue in that movie is great. Like
it's
with the
it's
team,
good.
yeah.
And hey, I was like 8 years old when those movies came out. I thought they were amazing. I loved them. I had the video game on GameCube. I was super into them. It wasn't until I was an adult that I realized that everybody hated those movies. So you're not gonna see me talking shit about Fantastic Four, but I'm excited for the new one. I am now officially on board and confident that they might do some. They might cook, as the kids say. And yeah, I mean, First Steps is an interesting subtitle. I mean, to me, it feels like an homage to the what's the why am I drawing a blank on the astronaut? Not Buzz Aldrin. What's the Buzz Aldrin that said this is one small step for man? Whichever one of them said it.
Oh man,
It's it,
yeah, American history don't fail me now. It
it
was
feels like a
staged. Is
reference.
this the part where I say it was staged? Donovan the Moon Landing was staged.
Oh God, no. That's a different show.
Yeah, yeah. No,
But
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, very 60s, very 60s, very 60s. Super
yeah, which
stylistic, like it has its own vibe, has its own look. I really appreciate that.
mhm, yeah.
And something to
What do
note,
you think about? Go ahead.
is that you'd never see Reed Richards use his powers in the trailer.
People have been talking about
Yeah,
that.
so you don't see it.
Yeah.
And I think elasticity is one of the coolest powers to have that's so underutilized. And in the DC universe, Plastic Man is the strongest superhero in the world. Stronger than Superman. So I think I think it's just a cool
Powerful
power that
power.
you don't utilize much, and it is corny, right? It looks corny, it can be corny, but you can also have a lot of fun with it, right? It's just that striking that balance of like fun and cool
Right.
and emotional and all that good stuff. And it might pull it off. It looks so different than anything we've seen before, and that's a big thing to me. Like it doesn't look like just more MCU stuff. It looks completely
Uh,
different.
um, Tell me, are you excited for like a Galactus stuff? We see at the end, we see like the back of Galactus's head, like looking down at the Statue of Liberty in New York City. Um, Obviously, people have wanted to see that character in a movie for a long time. Very beloved, iconic Marvel
Yeah, they
villain.
they did terrible. His interpretation in the
The
second
Cloud.
Fantastic Four movie was awful,
Yeah.
which was based on the Ultimate comics. Because in the Ultimates, he wasn't a being. He was like a swarm. He was like a sentient swarm of like robots or like
Yeah.
beings or whatever. It wasn't a great interpretation. People were really let down by it. But does that mean we'll see Silver Surfer or Fire
Yes,
Lord?
we will.
Right? Like
Silver
one of
Surfer's
those.
in this movie. Yeah, they've confirmed that.
They're going all out, and this is what I wanted originally, but for some reason I wasn't allowed to have it until 10 years later.
Mhm.
You can picture
We'll be
that,
happy
right?
to have it.
You're sitting there like in the room after the first time and being like, "Oh, we'll have this character and this character," and they're like, "Oh, well, nobody knows who that is. We have to explain it, and we have to do this thing, but let's not do that. Let's just do this." But like now we can just have fun with these movies. I think now because more people are
Right.
familiar with it. Maybe I don't know, but it took 10 years to get to this point of just having fun with certain characters. I guess Deadpool had a lot of fun too with characters. They
Yeah.
didn't need to fully explain a black backstory, right? They just kind of
Well, they
showed what
didn't
it
own
meant.
it. Marvel Studios didn't own the rights back then. It was still Fox. They
Yeah.
made Fantastic Four movies back then. Y'all just hated them. They were owned by Fox.
Fantastic Four
Um,
was awful. Did you
Fantastic.
see Fantastic Four?
I did not see that movie.
Ooh,
No.
yeah, man, it's really bad. Like, it doesn't know what it wants to be. It was a very weird movie. I was like, what is this? Like, I mean, it was. I
Right.
can appreciate it not being a superhero movie, but it was definitely a weird, weird, weird film. Weird,
Mm.
like not in a good
Yeah.
way.
Well, this is the second of 3 movies that I'm excited for that are coming
Mhm.
out this July. Superman being the third. Obviously, we already watched that trailer. There's nothing new to talk about there. This will be exciting. I'm looking forward to talking about this more when it comes out, and maybe I'm gonna be there opening night. Let's do one more trailer, Greg. Let's watch Final Destination Bloodlines trailer. Now, this is one that I just have so much to say about this goddamn movie in this series. Let me know when you want to hit go on this one.
All right, so we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Have you seen this trailer
Yeah.
already?
My old man.
This one, no.
And now they want me to lie.
I don't like Final Destination. I hated it, in fact. I can't stand Final Destination.
Like and subscribe and all the.
But although even like in the beginning there why are we hearing the sounds of her fucking eyeballs moving around in the tongue and stuff? These movies freak me out, man. I've talked about it so much on the show that this franchise traumatized me. And of course, okay, I did see this clip because before they dropped the trailer, they posted a video of just the fans whirring around, and everybody was like, "What's that all about?" So I know that there's going to be something happening there. Of course, you got to have death,
Turn this down a little bit.
right?
It's like, the algorithms don't understand what a reaction or a critique video is. They just automatically assume that we're posting the whole song.
Also, this guy being, it's like a tattoo parlor is already a creepy place that I kind of don't want to be anyway. But the showing like the needle beating on the skin and the Rube Goldberg machines, Greg. These movies are Rube Goldberg machines, except you die at the end
Well,
of them.
the thing is about the first two Final Destination movies were so iconic because they were just so new and different. Oh come on, really? Come on. No, astronomical odds. No.
Oh, that's so disgusting. I don't even have a piercing anymore. That is. Oh, good lord. Ah, God. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, they've made the cardinal mistake, Donovan, that a lot of horror movies get into
Goodness
later in their life.
gracious. Jesus, did they?
Now it's just about the kills. That's it.
It's Final Destination. It's always been about the kills.
But, like,
it's the one series. It's only about the kills.
This is the trailer you're gonna show. This kill is so lame.
Greg, what is the first Final Destination about other than a bunch of teenagers dying in organized fashion?
Wait, correct, but it's finding out what's going on, and it's the type and ways they die, right? That comes into. But
That's
now,
this too.
but
What's the
you're right.
difference?
That's 1 and 2, but then 3 and now 4 just get like over. Now they're 2. It's just
They're no different.
who
They're identical
cares
movies.
who cares about the story? Just show me the kills. Just cut out
The
all the
first one didn't
talking
care
and just
about
show
the
the
story.
kills.
The first one didn't care about the story. The fifth one actually had a decent story because it ended up being a prequel to the first one. But this is the one horror series that sells itself as about kills. They say at the end, death runs in the family. Also, it's worth mentioning that like Final Destination is about people having premonitions and seeing visions. So we don't even know if this kill actually even happens. I mean, for all we know, this could be how the movie starts, and then the guy's like, "Oh, I just had a vision. I got to get out of the shop, or else I'm gonna die in some terrible accident." I don't know. For one, I'm glad that the trailer only focuses on one scene because I was worried that it was gonna be like they were gonna show us a bunch of different scenes, and that would kind of give away like some of the kills. Because like I mentioned, the Rube Goldberg machines, right? They put you in a setting, and you're like, okay, I know this guy's gonna die in the tattoo parlor, but it's a fucking tattoo parlor. So is the needle gonna go into his eyeball? Is he gonna smash his head on a table of piercings or something? And of course, he ends up getting his nose snatched and getting burned alive. But that's the appeal of it. So I mean, I like the fact that if I just watch this trailer and go into the movie, I know nothing, absolutely nothing about it, other than the fact that the scene happens.
I think the best kills in the series are the ones that happen unexpectedly in ways you're not expecting. But this one, like, this is what kills it for me right here. The chain swings down and hits his nose. Like, I mean, come on, like a log on a truck.
Final Destination!
A log on a truck, sure, right? A piece of metal flying
my
up from nowhere. That's fine too. A bus hitting you. That's like it goes on too long. Like it's just I don't know.
But that's the whole gimmick of Final Destination. That's that they're all so improbable and unlikely to happen. The plane exploding in the first one, the roller coaster, everyone dying on a roller coaster. That hasn't happened in decades in real life. They're all unlikely. There's a death in one of these movies where somebody's walking in through like Home Depot and a bunch of needles, all the guns fire at once, and they just get shot with a bunch of needle guns.
Yeah, see,
that's
like,
never gonna happen.
It's gotten too crazy. I liked it better. Like even I think
Final Destination.
I think the first two movies have like had like that lower bar of like we don't need a 5-minute build up to something. We just gonna like the guys arguing about it and the train's going by because they thought they're gonna hit by the train, right? And it psyched you out, and then like the piece of metal flies off and kills them, and it could have killed him anywhere. But that's like a oh shit moment, right? Like you weren't like you thought they were gonna die at the train, and then they mislead and they do this. And I think now it's just like there was this thing is like overthinking, right? Overthinking a kill, and like this scene is overthought. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, there's a balance, I
yeah,
think. And I think that there's always been a balance in these movies. Some of the kills in Final Destination, they are out of nowhere. What the fuck just happened? Kills.
Yes.
Like when the guy backs up into the street and gets hit by the bus, and you aren't
Yes.
even expecting anything to happen.
Yes.
Sure. Or the guy stands up on the roller coaster and gets his head cut off. Those happen, but the series also does the very drawn out, tension building deaths, like the sauna in 3, where the like two women are in the sauna and it gets stuck, and then the lotion hits the wires and they all get cranked up to 1,000 degrees. And it goes on for like 5 minutes before these women actually burn alive. But they do both. They give you both because it's about the paranoia. It's like the feeling of dread of like the inescapable terror of like this situation is going to end badly. I think, is it 5 or 4 where they're like, the guy's in the eye doctor, right? And it's like the whole time they're like giving you close-ups on his fucking retina and his pupil and the needles moving all across his face. And you're just scratching your chair waiting for him to get like impaled in the eyeball. And then he eventually makes it out, and then they're doing like construction on the building and like a glass pane falls and like crushes him outside. It's Ooh, I'm joking there. But it's all about like, building up the expectation, mess with what you think's gonna happen. I'm sure this movie will have that's like that too, I suppose. I also think it's worth mentioning that Tony Todd is gonna be in this movie. He died like a couple months ago. We talked about it. But he was in a bunch of the Final Destination movies as like the fan theory is that he's like death himself because he's always like different characters when he shows up. But I think this is going to be his last movie, which is very fitting, ironically. But I'm excited that he's going to be in it because he's a staple of this franchise.
I definitely like. I mean, you would agree with me on this, Donovan. It's a horror movie. It's a horror franchise. You'd call it horror, right? It's
Terrifying
definitely
horror
Yeah,
franchise.
it's
I hate
definitely
them.
horror. Yeah.
Full horror.
I don't know. Like, I think like the horror defines a generation of like things that you do every day. That those are ones that really hit home, right? Going on an airplane, or the one that will haunt me forever is it's the second one, right, with the log truck. Like,
Yes,
that's
is
the
too.
one. That's like it's the everyday stuff that people do every day. Like you said, going to the doctor, right? And I think the more relatable the scenario is, the more believable it is, and the more terrifying it is, right? So I just don't like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's a lot of moving pieces to all the kills, but this one specifically we saw in the trailer, I'm not sold on it. You know what I mean? I'm not sold on it. But I've never
Sure.
seen that Final Destination after 2. So like I've never seen 3, 4, or 5.
You should watch 5. You should watch Final Destination 5. That one is not only like good, but it has like it is very secretly a clever movie. And I say this as somebody who doesn't even like the series. Final Destination 5, when it ends, you are actually like, oh shit, okay. It has like a very clever way that it ties the whole fucking franchise mythos together. And it's like the 5th sequel, and you're like, story has gone out the window at this point, surely. No, but the way Final Destination 5 ends, it is like more clever than it had any right being. So I could say
Okay.
you could probably skip 3 and 4 altogether. 3 was the one that traumatized me as a kid, but 5, which was the last one, I think it was 2011, or yeah, is like sneaky good. It's sneaky good. I watched it for the first time a couple years ago, and actually thought it was good. TJ says Final Destination 5 has the gymnast that gets got because another gymnast steps on a perfectly placed screw, falls off, knocks a talc bag into a fan that blasts the actual victim and makes her fall. Yeah, and then her body like splits in half because of the way she lands. And that's another iconic kill. Yeah, that takes like 7 minutes to happen, but it is very creepy and upsetting and disturbing. And the image of her falling is still burned into my brain. Yeah, like I said, I was 8 years old in the year 2006 when Final Destination 3 came out, and my family went to the movie theater. And this was like back in the day. I'll say.
Wait, you were
and I
8
know,
and you saw Final Destination 3 at 8?
at 8, Greg, 2006.
I need to seriously
2006.
sit down and talk with your dad. Like, this is your
That's
cinema
it.
exposure
That-
at these ages are very concerning to me.
Here's what happened though. So I say back in the day, which I know me calling 2006 back in the day is going to make some people cringe, but it was for me, goddammit. But the thing about going to the movies back then was like, and let me know if you guys did this too, Greg. Sometimes you would go to the movies and not know what was showing. Like you wouldn't look at your phone and find the run times and be like, oh, we're going to go see Iron Man at 7:20 p.m.
Right.
A lot of times it was just like, oh, it's Friday night. We've got a free evening. Let's go to the movies. And we would go. And when we got there, we would see on the marquee, it'd be like, oh, this is playing in 30 minutes. This starts in an hour. This starts in 5 minutes. And we would decide what we wanted to see, how long we were willing to wait. That's how it worked. You go and find out at the movie theater what you wanted to see and when. So that's what we did. We just went one Friday night and we got there, and opening that night was Final Destination 3. And they had posters for it, but they had like, in the theater, they had like caution tape on the walls. They had like skulls. They had like demons like flying around from dangling from the ceiling. I mean, it was getting like the fucking Barbie Avengers treatment for Final Destination 3. And then there was like Big Mama's House, or like Big Mama's House 2, I think might have been playing, the Martin Lawrence comedy. And my dad was like, "All right, let's vote." And I was like,
Let's
I don't like-
vote.
"Yeah." I was like, I don't like scary movies, so I would prefer to watch Big Mama's House 2. And then my brothers, who like scary movies, they're both like, let's go see Final Destination. And my dad's like, yeah, let's see Final Destination. And I'm like, outvoted. And we went in, and I remember walking down like the hallway to get in the auditorium. And I was like, I might die in here. I was like, this might be where my life ends.
Not appropriate.
No, no, not
appropriate
appropriate
at all.
No.
Oh my
And that movie gave me a fear of roller coasters. I still don't ride roller coasters. I've ridden a roller coaster maybe 3 times in my life, since I saw that movie. And
I'm not a big
it
adrenaline
took me
junkie
forever to
either,
get
but it's
in.
not because of Final Destination 3, just because I'm not an adrenaline junkie.
That's fair.
Adrenaline
not
is a
either.
thing that kicks in when you're in trouble or when you need to get survival mode on. Like, I don't like triggering it. It's not something that should be
Yeah.
enjoyed. It's very weird. My wife likes roller coasters. I'm like, nope.
Yeah. Hey, wait. She can have all the fun. So yeah, Final Destination Bloodlines comes out this year. I'll probably check it out just because at this point in my life, I love horror movies and I'm fascinated by seeing what's new and what's interesting. But I might not freaking like it. But Greg, that is going to conclude our stacked trailer reaction extravaganza.
And that's not even the Smurfs.
Woo.
We didn't even see this. We didn't even see the Smurfs
Yeah.
there.
We didn't even look at Rihanna's Smurfs movie. Anywho, remember to follow the stream, guys. We appreciate everyone jumping in, hanging out, chatting with us. Make sure to follow the stream. Hit the notification bell so you're made aware every time the Shacknews Twitch channel goes live, which is going to happen at least one more time today because we will be streaming some earnings calls later. We've got shows. You might be getting a special Shack stream tomorrow for the Super Bowl. Who knows? You see Johnny Chugs in the chat. He's got a couple of shows that he does here on the Shacknews Twitch channel. We got Indylicious Taking It to the Lab. Steve Tendo, our longest running show, happens 3 times a week. We got a lot of original programming here, and you don't want to miss it, which is why you should also find us around the internet, because we are on x.com at Shacknews. We're on Instagram at Shacknews Media, Facebook, we're Shacknews, TikTok, Shacknews, and YouTube. Greg, we have not 1, not 2, but 3 channels. Tell the people all about them.
Yeah, so we have 3 wonderful YouTube channels. Shack News VODs, where we go to all of our VODs get uploaded there every day, or not every day. I've tried to do it every day, and then they get cleaned up on Friday. Then we have Shack News Interviews, where we do all our interview content, devs, celebrities, voice actors, all the good stuff. And then we have at Shack News, which we put all our guide content, our feature content, our original content, and our gameplay content. So go check all that out. We did a lovely WWE 2K25 stuff this week. So if you're like a fan of wrestling, we have a ton of that content over there for you guys to enjoy. So please check them out.
Look at that. And Greg works very hard to put all that stuff together, so please go give it a watch. With that, we're going to move on to our third story here, which, Greg, I'm interested to hear your perspective on this because I'm going to go out on a limb and guess. You might know a little bit more about this here franchise than I do, but Buffy the Vampire Slayer is getting a reboot, baby. And guess who's going to be in it? Sarah Michelle Gellar. That's right. Buffy herself. She will make a return in a new show. But I don't believe she's going to be the main character. That's the interesting part about this. It seems like she might not totally be the focus. Like she might be like a supporting character, maybe like a Batman animated or Batman Beyond sort of situation.
Mentor situation.
Yeah. But nevertheless, I want to jump into this because there's a couple interesting details about it, right? So one, Chloe Zhao is in talks to she's going to be producing this and is apparently going to direct the first episode. Chloe Zhao directed Nomadland, which won Best Picture at the Oscars a few years ago. She also directed Eternals, which is a MCU film that did not do very well, but I thought was a good movie at the very least. She's a very talented director. And And apparently, this is like a Hulu joint that they're working on. But here's where I think this gets really interesting, Greg. So Sarah Michelle Gellar, who's obviously the Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you grew up in the early 2000s like me, she's also Daphne in Scooby Doo. But she put out a statement about this that I kind of just want to read and let her words speak for this new project. So, you might have heard some news this week, but I realize you haven't heard from me. 3 years ago, I got a call from my dear friend and mentor, Gail Berman. She told me that she wanted to sit down. She wanted me to sit down with Chloe Zhao to hear her take on a potential Buffy revival. I was blown away that Chloe even knew who I was, but as I've always done, I told Gail that I just didn't see a way for the show to exist again. We'd always been aligned on that, but this time I heard something different in her voice. I eventually agreed to go, mainly just to meet Chloe, and our 20-minute coffee quickly turned into a 4-hour adventure. We laughed, we cried, but mostly we talked about how much this show means to us. While I didn't agree to anything at that meeting, I did shock myself by agreeing to continue the conversation. These conversations did, in fact, continue over the next few years, and eventually we added the incredible Nora and Lila Zuckerman to our little tribe until ultimately one day we landed on an idea. I've always listened to the fans and heard your desire to revisit Buffy and her world, but it was not something I could do unless I was sure we could get it right. This has been a long process, and it's not over yet. I promise you, we will only make this show if we know we can do it right. And I will tell you that we are on the path there. Um, I feel so lucky to be on this journey with these four unbelievably talented women, all of whom love Buffy as much as I do, and as much as you do. Thank you for all the fans who never stopped asking for this. This will be for you. As Sarah Michelle Gellar posted that herself on her Instagram, actually today, a few hours ago, um, talking about the news of it. So it definitely is one, not a thing that's completely set in stone yet.
Yeah.
They're working on it, but it hasn't got like an official series green light. It's not filming or anything, but they are writing it and working on pre-production stuff. I do want to say that just reading Sarah Michelle Gellar's statement, I like where she's coming from here. I think it's cool that this has been a thing that like this wasn't something that got pitched to her last week and she just signed on is now going to be in it. Like this is something that they've been talking about for 3 years. She says something that she herself has been heavily involved with. You've got a talented director in Chloe Zhao who's winning Oscars and whatnot, who's passionate about making this a thing. They've got 4 women producing it. I think it's important when you're dealing with a character like Buffy. I like that there seems to be a real reverence for the show. This wasn't a case where like, oh, the IP like expired and now this random streaming service owns it and they're just gonna like make it again because they know people will watch it. It seems like the people who are in control here are like very hell bent on making sure it does the franchise justice, which I think is cool. I'm not a big Buffy guy. It wasn't my generation. I kind of missed the show. I've seen
You
clips and
did.
parts
You
of
were way
episodes
too
and
young
stuff.
when the time it ended. You were
Yeah,
way too young when the time it ended. Yeah.
yeah. But I think it is interesting that it's coming back like this. And I don't know, Greg, what do you think about this whole situation?
I mean, I think it's interesting. I have to wait and see what's happening. It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer was such a unique, groundbreaking show at the time. Serialized television with a female protagonist that was an actual fighter. Like that's some of this stuff is commonplace now, but back then you didn't see that very often, if
Yeah.
at all. It was one of Josh Whedon's biggest projects. I think he's canceled now. I don't think he's done anything since he's got canceled, but it was just the writing and how everything worked and the tones that they used, the themes that they did, the problems. It's very much like Star Trek. Like just they handle a lot of real world problems. Running to high school, dealing with that. If like Buffy's mom dies, which is like spoilers, but it's like one of the most darkest episodes you'll see of the series. And it just did new things for television, new groundbreaking things for television that a lot of people inspired to not, I guess it's inspired to do that later on. I mean, like, regardless of the controversy on set and the actor cast and all that bullshit with Josh Whedon now, but like at that time, at its peak, it was prime television that got started. People forget that it was a movie that failed. The first one was a movie. Then when Josh Whedon couldn't get the TV show off the ground and got to do a movie first, the movie didn't do well.
Remember when that used to be a thing where like
Yeah.
movies would also be backdoor pilots for TV shows? Like you get a movie and then you would like do the show. That's how Jimmy Neutron started. Jimmy Neutron was a
Yeah,
movie,
no,
and then he made the
absolutely.
show.
Yeah, like failed. It's weird. Failed movies don't usually become TV pilots, but somebody was like, "You want to do a TV show? Sure." And like it's where oh god, I forget his actor, but there were a ton of actors that got their start on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh god, Seth Green was on it as a recurring character for a hot minute. He played it. It was a really cool take on like fantasy genre. It had a great overarching story. It was serialized television, so like there was like a villain at the end of every month you'd confront. Great writing, great characters. You just had to be there to experience it. Which I was there and I missed it. I watched it later on DVD and my wife and I binged the whole thing. It's a great show. We'll see. I mean, it could.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of these things can just be time capsules. Are just time capsules. Like
yeah,
that's the big thing is that they're just time capsules and they might not survive the test of time. But if you go back and watch it, I think it's on Hulu, maybe.
probably.
But
I
if
mean,
you
the new one's
watch
gonna
it,
be
like
on
there's
Hulu,
so
so
many
there's no.
actors that like got their start here, and I like a lot of character actors that you'll see in lots of different movies. The main love interest in Dexter for like the first
Oh,
4 seasons. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Sorry, I was racking through the spiders.
yeah, no, I mean it's great, but like it's like does it withstand the test of time? That's my big question, right? Like, is it an homage? Is this its own thing? It's a delicate balance when you bring something back like this because you have new and old fans. Do you cater to the old fans? Do you cater to the new fans? How much do you throw back to? How much do you not throw back to? Does it feel like a checklist? Like it's dangerous territory, which is why I feel like a lot of people don't do it. It's just it's a lot of juggling balls, right? You're juggling nostalgia and you're juggling casting, you're juggling like story and writing. For
Yeah,
like those of you who like love the MCU movies, like this is where it started. This is like where something dark happened and you get a quip. This is where it started. This was where that writing started, right? Like it was a thing.
yeah.
Uh
I mean, that's Joss Whedon's whole stick.
well,
Uh,
on top of that, like there were constant references to Scooby Doo in this series. Donovan, they always make fun of it. They're like,
oh,
"What are we Scooby Doo in a van?" And then like they literally call their investigation Scoobies because like that's what they're doing. Like so like which is ironic because then Michelle Gellar when it was in a Scooby Doo movie later. But
yeah,
it's a fun show. People should watch it. It's great. It does visually looks rough because it has a low budget, but writing saves it. It has really good smart writing. I mean,
mm,
I'll
um,
watch it. My wife will watch it, but they tried to reboot Charmed and that did not work. Charmed, there were a lot of TV shows that came out a few years after Buffy that were trying to copy its success. Charmed was one of those shows, right?
fair.
Whereas
I remember
like
Charmed.
you like Charmed, like the new one or the
I
old one?
I remember it. I didn't watch it. I remember it coming on. It was one of those shows where if I fell asleep watching Nickelodeon, Charmed is like one of the shows that'd be on at like 6 a.m. when I was like getting up for school. But yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that
but
being a
like they
thing.
tried to reboot that, and that was not happening. They did just failed. And like I don't think you can point to any one thing in that situation, but you always have like you always say, Donovan, you always have the original series to watch. You always have
Yeah,
that. Uh,
Buffy the Vampire Slayer will always be there, and is very iconic. Even as someone who never watched it, I know a lot about it. Which I think speaks to the show's legacy. I do want to mention a couple of details here from the Hollywood Reporter. So this is from the report. So this is not confirmed, but just stuff from. I mean, Hollywood Reporter is probably right. They're usually on the money with this stuff. But they say that according to sources, the new Buffy show would focus on a younger Slayer, and that Sarah Michelle Gellar's Buffy Summers would not be the central character. Although Buffy lore dictated that only one Slayer could exist at a time, its final
yeah,
season upended that notion with the awakening of hundreds of potential Slayers for the show's endgame, so that they might pick up where that kind of leaves off, and might
oh,
have her
that's right.
document for
They
characters
were
and stuff.
training. They were training all because there was going
Yeah,
to be a big war, and they were training all the Slayers because something broke. Right, I remember that. I'm
yeah.
remembering it now. The show went for like 9 or 10 seasons. It was a long running show. But like
Yeah, and also I just want to mention that while I didn't watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I love Sarah Michelle Gellar. I was a big Sarah Michelle Gellar fan growing up because she was in all the other things I loved.
Scooby Doo. She was in
Scooby
Scooby Doo, wasn't it?
Scooby
That
Doo.
was her. That was your
She was
first inkling to her.
Scooby Doo 2002. I was 4 years old, and then obviously Monsters Unleashed in 04. I was 6. She was Daphne Blake. I loved her as Daphne. Growing up, that's who I thought of when I thought of Daphne. But even getting into horror, right? I Know What You Did Last Summer. She's in that.
Yeah,
Scream 2. She's
yeah,
CC
she is.
Cooper
Yeah.
in that. She's one of the few actors that cross over between those slasher franchises. So yeah, I was always into Sarah Michelle Gellar. She's great. I like her whenever she pops into stuff. The Grudge. I mean, come on. So I'm excited to see her jump back into stuff. And she's not doing the new I Know What She Did Last Summer, but she was on set for it that one day. She leaked that they were shooting it. I remember that being a thing. She like posted on her Instagram that she was like, "Sorry guys, I got yelled at." Um, yeah, but there you go. That's a cool, fun story that came out of nowhere. So Buffy Hive, stand up. Greg, we
No,
got one more
Whedon's
news story.
canceled, Denny. He's been he ever since he got in trouble. I don't think he's been doing anything but consulting. I don't think he's. I don't. And it's been so long. I even forget the controversy behind
Well,
what he did.
he's saying having to pay him anything. He's not saying to bring him in. If he has like any sort of ownership, then It's not about if they like them or not. They just
Maybe
have to.
in like merchandising, but I don't think he has any say in the show because it's just. I mean, usually when you
Right.
do a show like that, like you're signing the rights over of the show. Merchandising is a different story. I'm sure he has merchandise rights, but like comic rights, if people want to do spin off stuff like that, like I don't. I think the show rights those stay with whoever owns it, Fox or whatever
Yeah,
was running at the time.
I
It's
think
just
so
how it
too.
was. That's the risk you take
Yeah,
when you want to do a show. You know that you have to sign it over. It's they take a risk, you
I
take a risk. Yep.
I do believe that was indeed the case. And then to get into our final story here, Greg, Disney reported earnings this week, and it was a bit of a there wasn't as much news in this one as usual. Like usually when Disney's giving out earnings, they're like giving release dates. We might learn about an MCU thing. They might talk about Pixar movies. There wasn't a lot of news here. I mean, our headline here is that Disney Plus lost 700,000 subscribers this quarter, which is a massive fucking number of people. But also, they still made their profits were still going up this quarter, which I guess tells you how much Disney Plus really matters in the grand scheme of things. But nevertheless, I do want to look at this report from Variety here. Disney Entertainment's streaming business, comprising Disney Plus and Hulu, if you forgot they own that as well, delivered its second straight profitable quarter with an operating income of $293 million of revenue, which is up 9%. The flagship Disney Plus lost 700,000 subscribers worldwide, while Hulu gained 1.6 million subscribers worldwide.
It's the same business. So
Um,
what is it? So they
yeah,
gained 1.1 million.
yeah. So they, still a net positive if you look at the entire Disney
Yeah.
jalopy there. Well, I think one thing, Greg, is that they've done a good job at not telling a lot of people that they also own Hulu. I'm sure a lot of people don't know. People who've just been subscribed to Hulu for 10 years probably don't even know that it's also just Disney now. And they have slightly different libraries. At this
Yeah.
point, everything that's on Hulu is also on Disney Plus, with few exceptions. But I don't know if it's the same the other way around. I mean,
No,
Hulu
they're
still
smart
has
with
that
it.
like
That's why The
day
Simpsons
after.
that should be on Hulu is on Disney Plus, which annoys me. Like it should be on Hulu, but it's on Disney because that's the show people want to watch, not the new stuff. They want the old
Mm,
stuff, and they're smart about it. I mean, it's funny. Nothing confuses the business end of Hollywood than mixed messaging. Like when they're like, movie theaters are dead, then Moana 2 comes out and makes $1 billion. And then they're like, subscription services are the way to the future. And then they lose subscribers. Like like they can't win. They can't win. I mean, I feel like the best way to go is just you have a good library of content. You make new content that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg, right? I mean, Netflix is good at doing a lot of original stuff that's not super expensive.
yeah,
Like there's a ton of original stuff in Netflix that's not like, triple digit $1 million productions.
yeah.
And you just take
It's
yeah,
it's
you
worth
take risk. Yeah.
noting. It's worth noting that they raised the price for Disney Plus last quarter. We talked about this on the show that they raised the price, and it's something we've talked about on the show before, Greg. When they make the decision to raise prices by $1, $2, they think about this from an analytics standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Where if you have 1 million people subscribed at one price point, and you raise the subscription by $2, and 100,000 people unsubscribe, but the other 900,000 continue to pay, and they all pay the $2 price increase. Guess what? You've made up for the 100,000 people that left, at which you were making earlier, and you probably still added money on top of that. So it's
Yeah.
something they think about here. Where it's why I'm sure that's why there's a quote here where Bob Iger said, "We actually are very pleased with where we are subwise for Disney Plus and Hulu." That's because I'm sure they have a financial analyst who told them,
Yeah.
"Hey, you're probably going to lose like 500,000 subscribers when you raise prices, but at the new price, you're still going to be making 100 million more dollars a quarter because, so it's on the surface, it's like, ooh, lost 700,000 subscribers. That's bad, but people are fucking signing up for Hulu still. I guess that they're watching new episodes of Abbott Elementary, whatever's like airing on TV, and they're getting the next day. Survivor, all I can think is reality shows now. Whatever's coming out on networks and stuff. So, I mean, it's worked for them. They talk about Moana 2 did great at the theaters, which I didn't see, but the families love it. No way to make more money than churn out
I
those.
swear to God, if one fucking person asks me about the earnings call, I'm gonna like scream. I'm gonna say no.
Don't look at the-
Seriously, like it's so obnoxious. They're not gonna give you a release date for GTA 6. They're not gonna talk about GTA 6. They're not gonna show you a trailer. They're not gonna
Right.
show you anything. They're gonna mention it in passing, and that's it. It's not a place to
You don't know
reveal
that.
trailers, you fucking idiots. Come on.
You don't know that.
Jesus, how rude to come in our stream and be like, when's the earnings? Like, pay attention. Obviously, it's not the earnings because we're streaming something else. Rude.
They
Jesus.
might talk about it.
God. Sorry. It's nonstop GTA 6 bullshit. I'm so sick of it. You're not gonna get the info. Sorry. Like, that's not the place where they release GTA 6 info. Go to
might,
Reddit.
There's always a chance.
God, you're always a chance.
Warner Brothers announced Mortal Kombat 1 on an earnings call, so you know, you never say never. Same parent company to their respective publishers. Um, but yeah, and I think they talk a lot about their upcoming financial quarter, but I don't know. I never like to put too much stock in what the company says they think they'll do in the next quarter. I'd much rather just see what's actually happening when that time gets here. Um, but with that, I think we can get into a review or two because I watched a couple of very interesting movies, Greg, this past week. I said last week that I didn't watch anything and that I'd try to do better for the following week, and it's true. I have. I've got two movies that I want to review here, and the first one I want to talk
trailer
about.
up for one of them.
Yeah, the first one I want to talk about here is a movie called Companion, which is produced by the guy who directed Barbarian, Zach Kreger, who we talked about last week because he's directing a Resident Evil movie. Talented filmmaker. Companion is a it's a thriller. It's like a sci-fi thriller, I guess you'd call it. And it's got Jack Quaid, who I like very much. One of my favorite nepo babies in Hollywood. He was in Scream. Also Huey and the Boys. He's been in a bunch of stuff. My Adventures with Superman. It's pretty much about him and his girlfriend, who's played by Sophie Thatcher, Yellow Jackets fame. And it's one of those movies where I'm like trying to talk about the story without getting those spoilers.
Wait, this is called The Companion, right? Hold on, let me pull that
Yeah.
up. Let me pull up the trailer.
There are things about her that are not all that they seem to the audience. And the movie kind of explores their relationship and their dynamic and secret, strange intentions that certain characters may have. Where they meet, they become infatuated with each other and all seems like sunshine and roses. But then things get real crazy. And
I do like that actor. I do like the co-star.
wait, which one? Jack Quaid or?
Yeah, I like Jack Quaid, but he's
I think he's my favorite nepo baby. He's great.
He's starting to play like the everyday like fish it out of water character though. like he puts in these situations. He's like, oh no.
Yeah.
But I do like he does it very well though. Much like John Cena does not John Cena. Michael Cera does the awkward kid. But sorry, continue.
Awkward guy, yeah. No, you're right. Jack Quaid does play like that every man kind of character, or not even every man, almost like every boy. Where he's always like the naive, like young character in the stuff. Does it very well in The Boys. Does it well here too. I think that Sophie Thatcher is probably given the best performance in this movie, but I love the way that this movie kind of like paces its story. It's one of those movies where it starts off and it just instantly pulls you in. The way that they set up like not the MacGuffin, but just the hook of the story here, I thought was really clever. The way that they kind of just instantly implicate every character and what's happening, I thought was smart. A couple of like unexpected twists in here. This is a thing that I love in movies where there are like twists that aren't like world changing, but immediately change the context of everything that you've seen.
Oh yeah,
and,
yeah.
Like they handle them very like quickly, matter of factly. Like characters are having a conversation and it's like, oh yeah, also that thing, blah 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 over there, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Which I liked a lot. And they do another thing where they have these flashbacks. So you'll see something, it doesn't make a lot of sense. They'll talk about it and then you'll flash back to like how it happened and you're like, oh, okay. They do a good amount of that. It's short. I think it's like an hour and a half and maybe a few minutes after that. Well paced. I dug it. I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was fun and not as predictable as I was worried it would be.
She's a robot.
Yeah, something like that.
That's cool. It's a cool concept. And here's the problem, man.
Something
Like this
like
movie
that.
looks really cool, but like it's me. There's so much noise that like it's hard to market something like this. Like it's an original movie. Your largest star is arguably Jack Quaid, right? Your headliner, whatever. But like it's hard to get this out there. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even realize this existed until you said something. You know?
Right. Yeah, it's it's tough out here competing for screen time. But it's a New Line cinema. New Line is like at this point like a horror aficionado of a studio. They do good stuff.
They did great stuff. New Line has done amazing shit. They've done great stuff. They take risks.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah, I like a lot of the when it comes to horror, they're one of the better ones doing it, I'd say. Um, but yeah, I would recommend Companion. It's a good movie. I think it's doing fine at the box office. I haven't like looked at the actual numbers for it yet, but I enjoyed this movie quite a bit.
It's just
I
it's
thought
an
it was
independent movie, right? A little smaller production movie, not independent, but smaller scale movie. Goes to theaters, then a month
sure,
later goes to streaming. We have
probably
Max, so like hopefully it'll go on Max. This is something I'd want to watch. I would like we like Jack
Max would make
Quaid,
sense.
and he is on Red
Yeah.
Letter Media. X-Men, they barely utilize him, and he's just like himself. It's really cool that he's just to see an actor just be themselves, you know, because
Mm.
he's an actor, right? I wouldn't say he's top tier celebrity, right? Like, he's not causing, piles up on in the malls or whatever. But he seems like a really stand-up guy, just doing his thing.
Mhm. I also saw X-Men's comics where Jack Quaid admits and is aware of his neponess.
Neponess.
That's why I like him. That's why I like him. I'm glad that he's not trying to be like, no, I'm not famous because my mom is Meg Ryan. Like I'm glad that he's embraced it. It's fine. He's like, hey, yeah, because I think he's still a good actor. I like him. He's funny. Obviously, me being the Scream obsessive, I love him in those movies. I thought he was great in Scream 5. And he's good in this too. Again, I'll mention Sophie Thatcher, who is the girlfriend. So good in this movie. When you actually like watch her performance and the shit that she's doing, and how like the script demands that she like play so many different versions of herself and changes on a dime. Her performance is so impressive in this movie. And yeah, I loved her in Yellow Jackets. She also did a movie called The Boogeyman, which was like a Stephen King adaptation that nobody watched 3 years ago. That was
Tough.
fine.
It's tough. There's a lot of screen time. You're competing with screen time across the board for everything now. It's not just movies and TV, now it's video games, right? And social media feeds. It's difficult.
Hey, Phil Spencer once said that our rival these days is not PlayStation and Nintendo, it's Netflix. So there you go.
Yeah, streaming service. But this is not even on streaming services. But I'll see it when it does, when it does pop on.
Yeah, that's at the movie theater. So yeah, Companion's great. Recommended if you think it's interesting. Check it out. I saw another movie that is actually truly independent and small. It's called Flow. It's an animated movie. It actually got nominated for Best Animated Movie at the Oscars, which is kind of how it got on my radar. Now, this is a bit more out there, I guess, because it's an animated movie about a cat that the movie never explains to us in explicit terms, but the cat is essentially trying to avoid a flood. There's like some great apocalyptic event where the world is flooding, and we're just following this cat trying to survive. And the cat like befriends some other animals, and it makes enemies with other animals. And the entire movie was animated in Blender, which kind of blew my mind, because obviously Blender's like a video game, thing. Well, doesn't have to be video games, but a lot of games use Blender. There's no dialogue in this movie. It's all animals. There are no people, and the animals don't talk. They make animal sounds. They meow. They bark. They flap their wings. They splash the water and stuff. There's lemurs, capybaras, birds, but the entire thing is an unspoken journey, where the only sounds are like the sounds of nature and water and woods and animal noises from beginning to end. And it's this adventure of a cat and eventually a bunch of other animals trying to survive, which again, the movie does not explain what's happening. You see it in the trailer where there's like a massive like tidal wave and there's some sort of crazy flood happening, and you just assume that the world is ending, but they never explain what's going on. But it is these
It's
animals trying to
perspective
survive.
from the cat.
Yeah.
You said like they're not going to explain because
Yeah.
you're witnessing from that. Like if you were the cat, you
Yeah.
wouldn't know what's going on either. You know what I mean? Like you're just trying to survive. Yeah.
And I think in that it is very brilliant. It's animated very beautifully. Greg, I think you, as another video game person, will be like, this looks like a game. There are so many shots where I feel like I'm watching a Let's Play because of the way the camera's like over the like third person view of the cat, or the way the camera moves along. It does look like a video game. But I think it's very gorgeously animated.
It does look pretty.
It manages to have like a good amount of heart, man. Like despite there not being much, or not much, but despite being zero dialogue, it has all those moments. Like, anytime you're watching like a kids movie and there's an animal in danger, you're always like, no, 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 no. They managed to have those tense scenes where like the cat's trying to avoid the water, or like it's climbing a tree and the flood is rising right under its paws and whatnot, or there the politics between the animals. While they don't speak, they're constantly wrestling for power and fighting over like the steering wheel and knocking each other into the water. And there's like a massive sea creature that's swimming underneath their boat. And I don't know. I thought that it had like a lot of personality to it. I do wonder, despite it being like animated and definitely like a family film, I don't know if a child would have the attention span to sit through the entirety of it. I watched it at a friend's house, and his cat sat in front of the TV for like 15 minutes and watched it, which we all.
Cat does that when she wants attention. She's sitting
yeah.
in front of the TV. Like, Sadie down.
Yeah, but I would be curious if anyone watched this with like the child or like a niece or nephew or younger sibling, and see if they like the exact.
Anywhere?
It might be on Prime Video. I think that's where we watched it.
Okay.
Maybe. But this is French. This is a French movie. Obviously you wouldn't be able to tell because no one's speaking, but if the animals were talking, they'd be speaking French.
It's also in color and not in black and white. Upside down.
Right.
Does it say Finn
Right,
at the
yes.
end? Sorry.
You know, I don't remember. Does it? Now I'm thinking about it. Doesn't say
Finn.
Finn at the end. Yeah, but it's a good movie that I would recommend. Again, I think your mileage may vary depending on how you feel about all the things I just named. Animated family film with no dialogue.
Well, that's
but it's good.
different. We talk
Very
about
beautifully
movies
made.
all the time, doing something different, right? And not just trying to chase the trend or be the big blockbuster. And like that's different, right? There's no dialogue. It's you're telling a story through visuals, right? That's interesting to me. That's different.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it does it quite well. I liked it. I wasn't like, obsessed with it. I wasn't like, oh my god, this is my movie of the year.
Cute.
I don't
cute.
know.
Sounds like a nice, cute movie.
It is very cute. So, I like it. I'll recommend Flow. People weren't aware of it. Allow me to put it on your radar.
Especially
Flow.
with, like animated films. Like I sat through The Croods once, and I was just like, this movie is so obnoxious. It's so like obnoxious is a great way to define like these Ice Age sequels, not the original, but these sequels, and like all these other sequels. They're just obnoxious because they're meant for kids, for children, and that's fine. But like as an adult, I don't want to sit there with a person screaming for 20 minutes as they're being chased by something. Like that's, you know what I mean? This seems like it's a nice, interesting adventure, right? From a cat's perspective. I love kitties. I have 2 cats. Love cats.
Yeah, you as a cat owner, you'll appreciate it. You'll like it, I think.
It does look like a game though. Like at first, I was like, "Is this a game trailer?"
It looks like a video game. Multiple times I was like ready to like press the buttons and move the character around. Maximus said I like the Jaggy for one of the, I think it was the director, posted like a clip on Twitter where he was showing like in Blender how he was like animating it and modeling the character, and he's just showing you like the environment in real time, and he was saying that he didn't use storyboards because he preferred to just create the environment digitally and then explore it with the camera and like see what he likes and what works best. Just a fascinating movie from a production standpoint, and then the final product itself. Flow. There you go. That's my second.
Possibly on Amazon Prime.
Possibly on Amazon Prime. Yeah. My second of 2 movie reviews. But Greg, did you have anything you wanted to review or discuss here?
I did.
Ooh.
Nicole was like, "Hey, John Cena has a new movie," and we're like, "Really?" We love John Cena as an actor. I think he's got great range. I think he's hilarious.
What's
I think
the
his
John Cena
comedic
movie?
timing is so good.
He's funny.
You
You've seen Blockers?
Yeah, you can put him in anything, and I think he's really funny. I think he's just got really good timing. The Rock is a celebrity. You know, he's the modern. I'm not trashing on him, but he's the modern day Arnold. He's got one range, and that's what he does. You know, that he does his thing. But I think that John Cena is a more talented actor, and I think he's funnier.
Yeah.
So like Nicole was like, "We should watch Jackpot. It's a new movie," and I'm like, "Okay." Like,
What's it called? Jackpot?
Jackpot, and it's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, the lottery movie. Yeah.
And Nicole's not a big fan of that actor because she's obnoxious in some of the stuff she does. But she was
Awkwafina.
really, Awkwafina. She was very tame in this, and I think that was better for her to be less Chris Farley, right? Less what's the less Miss McCarthy, and just more like toned down. So I think that really worked for her. But essentially the plot is in the dystopian future. You know, jobs are tough. You know, it has a lot of
in the dystopian feature.
Yeah, jobs are tough. People need money. So the state of California specifically introduced this lotto system you can enter, and if you kill the person within the 24-hour period of them being announced, you get a jackpot. You get like a lot. You get like a huge sum of money, right? And then every single time someone survives and they don't claim the money, they get the money, and the pot increases. So it got to like billions of dollars by the time Awkwafina's character accidentally enters the lottery. And the one catch is no ballistics. You can't have any like guns, no guns. It has to be like close range kills, right? So she gets through like circumstances. She accidentally enters the lottery and gets drawn, and everyone's trying to kill her. And John Cena rescues her, and he has a service where he helps lotto winners survive. Right, that's his own thing. And he has a whole backstory he explores. and it's essentially a road trip through LA. It's fun. It's fun. I love John Cena. I think he's hilarious. He's got really good, a lot of improv takes in this, which can be funny. It was directed by Paul Feig. I know people aren't a fan of his work on Ghostbusters, but he is a funny director. If given
Great
the right
comedic director still. I mean, he made Bridesmaids.
Yeah, Bridesmaids is great too. It just put him in a good situation. He can make something good out of it. And there was a lot of those things, a lot of funny moments, a lot of funny improv moments. John Cena kills it. They throw back to a Ninja Turtles song in the Ninja Turtles 2 movie by Vanilla Ice. And I think no, it's not Vanilla Ice. It's a different. But anyway, it's a random character quirk. It's just in the movie. He just likes Ninja Turtles. It's just a weird character quirk that has no business being there, but it's so hilarious. I don't mind it. And it's been years since I've seen a comedy do that. Like, give someone a really weird character quirk that really has nothing to do with the plot, and then harken back to like a song that nobody's cared about in 30 years into the film. They play the Turtle Power song, and he beats people up to it while tied to a chair. And you're just like, it was so random, but it was hilarious. I just don't like. It's very weird. But yeah, I mean, I recommend it. It was great. A lot of action. The editing is a little choppy in the action scenes because I don't think Awkwafina is like a martial artist, and they have a lot of close-ups of her doing things, so they do a lot of insert cuts with like her stunt double and her, and it's a little distracting sometimes some of the fight scenes. But it was great. Her and John Cena have good chemistry. It's not a love interest. They're just friends, which is even cooler because you rarely see that in movies nowadays. They always have some kind of love interest involved. It also makes fun of Gen Y, like, and influencer culture tremendously, and I love that. I love when they. But yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. I love it. Directed by Paul Feig. Yeah, great opening scene. It's funny. It's a funny film, funny action film. I like John Cena. I want to support his career. I want him to do more things because he's really funny.
Have you seen the movie Blockers?
Cock Blockers? That one?
Well, the movie's just called Blockers, but yeah, that was the title before it came out.
Oh, okay. So it was called Blockers and they changed it because I've seen Cock.
No, it was gonna be called Cock Blockers. When it came out, it's just called Blockers. It's the John Cena comedy.
Yeah, he's good in that one too. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he plays the overprotective dad, right? That's what he plays. For
Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was great in
That's
Ricky
a really
Stenicki.
good one.
Like, he's good in everything they put him in. He's great. He's in Trainwreck for a hot minute. He's hilarious in Trainwreck. Like, yeah, the WWE, man, like, those people are actors and they're good. I think a lot of them could have very, very successful movie careers if given the opportunity.
I mean, look at Batista, who I would argue Batista's the strongest wrestler turned actor that's currently active. And we're just going talent. If I just had to make a movie right now and cast one of them in, I mean, I'd probably go Batista. He's such a good actor, and has talked about wanting to like do movies that show off his range. He said he's wants to do like a rom-com. He wants to be in dramas and stuff. He's great. And John Cena's, I would say, is not too far behind him. But yeah, I actually heard about this one. I remember when this came out. I had a buddy who watched this. It is a fun concept. Danny said it sounds like a GTA DLC, which I agree. It does sound like something they'd put in one of those games. And yeah, Awkwafina early in her career was not beloved for a lot of reasons, but she does seem to have mellowed out in some of her recent roles and has kind of dropped her shtick at least a little bit. Axman says,
Discover yourself. Like, I never had a problem with her at all. Like, I mean, I watched the Last Dragon, Raya the Last Dragon, and I've seen that movie twice, and I don't remember any of it. It's very, very blurs together, and I don't really. But like, that's the only thing I knew her from before this. I know she's done other stuff, but I don't have a problem with her as a person or as an actor. I don't know what my wife gets mad about, but I don't have a problem.
Yeah, she's done so much.
It could be like a bad taste. You see someone in a movie that goes way over the top. That's obnoxious. Obnoxious is the key word here. As you get older, things you used to find funny just are flat out obnoxious, and then that can like put a bad taste in your mouth. So if the actor's somewhere else, they could be like, oh right, this person, right? You don't really like want to do their thing.
Yeah. Axman says he recently watched Michael Bay's Ambulance with Jake Gyllenhaal and New Morpheus. It was an unfunny action movie. I actually kind of like that Ambulance. As somebody who hasn't been into anything Michael Bay has made in
Ambulance.
20 years. It's Ambulance. He spelled it like that. It's because of the movies he plays in LA, so the LA for Ambulance. But I thought it was good. I like that. I thought it was a good action flick. Slinky Jim says, I'm hoping Love Hurts is good and hope it gets the support they already are keeping from a lot of there's like they do not most movies. Yeah, Love Hurts is an interesting one. I like Kiki Kwan, obviously. Everything Everywhere All at Once was amazing. He's great in it. Him having his like Hollywood comeback story was one of the biggest, like the feel good story of the Oscars a couple years back when he was going on his run. So this is like his first movie starring as like the main character, name on the poster, top billed role. So I hope it works out for his sake too. Although I don't know. I mean, the trailers for that movie haven't made me feel strongly one way or another, but I do hope that he's good.
There's a lot of social commentary.
Yeah,
in
X-Men
this movie, too.
says he liked the
That's
movie.
interesting.
And I mean, this sounds very charged for commentary. I mean, when you said the future and jobs are tough, me and Denny were like, oh, the future, yeah, the future. Also, I just see MGK in this trailer. Oh, Machine Gun Kelly. This sure is.
Yeah, I mean, Machine Kelly's in it for like a hot minute. They actually film in his house, which is funny.
That's funny. Yeah.
I mean, I like celebrities that can poke fun at themselves. I think that's
Sure.
the way to do that. You know what I mean? Like, you're not so egotistical and sensitive that you can make fun of yourself in a situation. I think that's kind of cool.
This is a prosthetics machine.
It says a lot about your character, I think.
You're a lot safer.
Nice. Well, there you go. Do you have anything you're gonna watch soon, or anything you're planning to check out in the streaming world?
We're still plowing through Doctor Who. Although those episodes are so long. They're so long. So we're trying to get through, but we're still enjoying it. And I think I don't know if we're planning to do anything else.
The new season of Invincible dropped the first 3 episodes today.
Oh shit. Okay, then I'll be on that then.
Yeah. I only watched the first one. I didn't have time this morning. I was only able to get to the first one of season 3, but 2 more episodes. And I think every week now they're doing an episode on Thursdays. So we definitely got to spin that discussion up because boy, Invincible is just the show that keeps on giving. Yeah. I didn't know who it was, but I knew it was a rapper. Yeah, it was a rapper indeed.
Ambulance. Hold on, I have to look at this. Like I can't.
It's a Jake Gyllenhaal, Michael Bay movie where they're trying to drive an ambulance to the damn hospital for the whole movie, and there's gangs and agents
Michael
and stuff.
Bay is really good at action sequences. He can choreograph an action.
He is great at them,
especially car
It's great.
things.
Yeah, whole movie.
Right, and I think that stuff was really impressive when it was done with. I mean, a lot of it still is practical effects, practical dangerous effects. But I think when CG starts getting involved, the awe-inspiring interest of it is less. The good examples like Jackie Chan movies, right? You watch some of those older Jackie Chan movies, and they're super impressive. Like this one girl, one of his co-stars, has to jump on a bike ramp onto a moving train, and they really do it. And it's really impressive, but because our culture has been so ingrained with CGI over-the-top nonsense, it doesn't look impressive anymore. But it totally is.
That's not the only reason why they stopped doing shit like that, man. It's also for safety. It's because if we can avoid risking a human being dying to make a movie, then they're just gonna do it.
But I'm saying I was showing that to my nephew, and he's like, "What's so cool
bigger
about
than
that?"
anything.
Because they're like, "Oh right, it's not. It doesn't look as bombastic as you'd expect, right?" So, but no, that's that was what's wild about it. It is super dangerous. Stunts that are take a lot of practice in the stunt community. They made a movie about it. Didn't do too well. The stunt community is a huge community, part of the stand-ins.
I like
and
the
stunt
Fall
doubles.
Guy.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting.
Well, Greg,
dynamic.
I expect you to watch and support the new Mission Impossible movie that's coming out later this year because Tom Cruise hung from a freaking biplane that was in the air to make it.
I haven't watched the Mission Impossible movie since 1. I'm gonna be so lost.
You're talking about practical effects, man. That's the king of doing them.
But you're asking me to do homework for like 8 other movies. I'm not gonna know what's going on.
You like reading spoilers anyway? Just read the plot summary. It'll take you 10 minutes.
Okay, read the notes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, this movie looks very. I mean, the action looks great, and like that's the thing with Michael Bay. I think every time I've seen a review of growing up Michael Bay, I was like, the action is great, and then like it's just everything else is terrible. The action's great. You know, he should just be a stunt director instead of a director. Like I feel like that's it. You stick to your strengths, right? Yeah.
See, the thing with Michael Bay, dude, is that he is. It sounds silly, but it's true. He's an auteur. He could never be a stunt director because he has a full creative vision. You know, he doesn't just want to like tell people where to jump or set the timer to blow up an explosive. Like he's a visionary. I mean, I don't like his movies really, but he very clearly goes into his projects with a cohesive vision of everything he wants to see that happens. Like Ambulance is good. I like this movie, but it's like you watch it and You don't have to tell me who made this movie. I can tell you who made it from watching for 30 minutes of it. It's Michael Bay through and through. I mean, the drone zooms through the freaking streets, shit blowing up at intersections, the
shaky
close-ups
cam.
with the spit flying out of people's mouths, the fucking helicopter swooping in the slow-mo. Like that, there's nobody else who does that stuff though. Obviously, we all look down on it because people don't like it, but it's very much his artistic vision. It's what he likes. It's what he envisions for his movie. There goes the highlight in L.A. in the ambulance. They filmed this movie in L.A. I remember they shut down streets to do it. They did it practically driving this fucking big ass ambulance at 100 miles per hour and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, he is, say what you want about him. I don't like a lot of his movies, but he is like an artist as much as any other director out there making his movies. Just his point of emphasis is not in places that someone like a Denis Villeneuve or Christopher Nolan might put.
You're telling me you didn't like the racist Transformers movies? What?
No, where they were doing the accents.
You didn't tell me that somebody looked at that and said like, "This is fine. We can go with that. That's fine." Some white studio executive was like, "This is all fine. It's all good." Yeah, sure it is.
Accent says, "Oh, I'm a Transformers movie anti-fan."
Dude, we were in the theater, and when those characters pop
so
up, I had not seen the trailers. I mean, my friend and I were like, "What the fuck?" Like, we're like, are they really gonna talk about the whole movie? And like, they did, and I was like, how did they even?
Greg was like, "This is hilarious."
No, I was like, how did they get away with that? It's more like, how did nobody at any point in the time of the production said, shouldn't do this? Probably not a good idea. How did nobody? Because the question is at that level, it's just like you don't have any power. It's whatever Michael Bay wants and whatever the producer wants, and that's it. Those people have make all decisions. Poor decisions. Oh my god, there's this I love that actor. There's an actor in here that I see him in a ton of stuff. He was in Raising
Ambulance.
Yeah. Oh my god, I just saw him. Where is he? Oh, I wish I knew. He's in a ton of stuff. I forget his acting, but he's in Looper. He's in a ton of. He plays a great villain. He has great comedic timing. I love that actor. He's in so much stuff as like a minor character.
Oh, the guy with the USC hat.
Yeah, he's great. He's hilarious, and he's also plays a great villain. He plays an amazing, phenomenal villain. But it's also got great comedic timing.
Axman says that is Garrett Dillahunt.
Thank you. Garrett Dillahunt is fantastic. I might see this just for him because I love his movies. Everything he's in, I just enjoy him because he has that range. He just has great range.
Sure. Yeah.
Where's Timothy Olyphant? If Timothy Olyphant was in this, I would have seen it because my wife loves Timothy Olyphant.
He is wearing Timothy Olyphant in this movie. You should show your wife screen too. She loves Timothy Olyphant.
He is. Yeah, X-Men, Deadwood, Justified, and Fear the Walking Dead. He's great, and although he's such a he can be his on-screen presence is such a he can be like the friendliest character that you love, or he can be like a character you despise. He's got that range. I love that so much. He was great in Fear the Walking Dead. I was so sad what they did to him. He was one of my favorite characters. He played a gunslinger, Donovan, for show, like he used to do shows. So he's like a crack shot. So obviously like he would survive a zombie apocalypse because he really knows how to shoot. But he hates killing people. So he shoots people in the hands all the time because he won't kill people. It's like one of his things. It's just one of very cool. Because we talk about Walking Dead's just a Western. That's basically all these movies are just, and shows are just Westerns, right? It's talking about a cool play on a Western though. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Maybe you should watch, also, this is a shot. This shot you paused on. I like this shot. I like the USC hat in the background in focus, and then the New York Yankees hat in the foreground, blurred out. Say something about Michael Bay. That's a good damn shot. I like that.
It was $1 million shot to get the right logo rights, but he got it.
It's good. I mean,
wait, you want him at the same time on screen?
that's just dollars in in the bucket for somebody like Bay, I'm sure. Who again, I made the same argument about Spielberg, produces a lot of his own movies, which I said about Shyamalan, produces a lot of his own movies, where any filmmaker that's willing to be like, sure, I'll front part of the $200 million to make,
Yep, the Hollywood system isn't in fact that. It's a system. And, people, that's why you should watch the franchise, Donovan. Have you seen the franchise? You need to watch the franchise.
No, I haven't seen the franchise. But I did see TJ's comment where he says he just makes people want to die by mangling their hands irreversibly for life. What a saint. Talking about the character he said. Just with the hands. Yeah.
Wait, the Super Bowl is coming up. So first of all, you have to explain to me who's playing, who you're rooting for, and why, Donovan. Because let's get this. We'll call this the Super Bowl Donovan segment.
We'll spend the last few minutes of the show on this. Okay, yes, the Super Bowl is this Sunday between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay.
It'll be their second matchup in the Super Bowl in just a couple of years, Greg. In 2022, we had the Eagles versus Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs won. And And I'm going to go out on a limb and predict that the Chiefs will do it again. I think the Chiefs are going to beat the Eagles this week. So there are a lot of narratives going in this one, right? So, Greg, the Chiefs, if you haven't heard, have won 2 straight Super Bowls.
Okay.
If they win this one, they'll three-peat, and they'll be the first NFL team to ever three-peat Super Bowls. It's never been done. Teams have won a bunch, but no one has won 3 in a row. And the Kansas City Chiefs can make history this weekend. Now, you may or may not know that our own TJ Denzer is our resident Kansas City Chiefs fan as a native of Kansas City. So he, of course, will be pulling for his home team, the Chiefs, as he says there in the chat, Chiefs, Chiefs, and Chiefs. I'm on the East Coast where everyone is pulling for the Eagles because I'm like an hour from Philadelphia here in Baltimore, North Baltimore. Um, but here's my thing, when it comes down to like we're rooting for teams to win Super Bowls, I got to think of the most annoying fans I know. And as someone who lives on the East Coast and is close to Philadelphia, I know a lot of Eagles fans. I know a lot of Eagles fans that shit on my Ravens. They shit on us when we lose. They shit on us when they beat us in the regular season. They root against us when we play other teams. And we have a bit of a regional rivalry. We're not the biggest fans of each other. So you know what I don't want to see this weekend is a bunch of annoying ass Eagles fans climbing light poles and kicking the windows out of Toyota Camrys down Main Street because they won the Super Bowl. We already saw that in 2017. So God damn it, I'd rather see the Chiefs win. I'm going to embrace the villain role. So it's a thing that happens in sports, Greg, a phenomenon you might not be aware of. But whenever a team is successful for a long time, they become the villains. The Warriors, the Bulls in the 90s, the Patriots with Tom Brady. And now it's like the Chiefs, right? It's a team that everybody hates because they just win every year. I'd rather see them win again. I'd rather see the Chiefs win their third Super Bowl in a row than the Eagles. So, yeah, that's my pick to win the Super Bowl this Sunday. I'm going to be out of town in California for a work event, so I'll be watching it on California time at 3 p.m., probably at a
you're
bar
gonna be
somewhere.
during Super Bowl weekend? You're gonna be traveling?
Yeah. Dude, I'm getting off a plane, I'm checking in my hotel, and I'm going to the nearest bar and watching the Super Bowl.
That's funny because I know you can't say what you're going to, but that's funny. They never send me because they want. I can't write, so they always have to send somebody. You're on the opposite end of the coast. You're like, send Greg. He's like, an hour plane flight. Nope, Donovan's got to go to the fucking airport. It's got to go to LAX. Got to do all that stuff.
We need previews, baby.
During the Super Bowl.
Yeah. That's fine. Don't get me. If the Ravens were in the Super Bowl, I wouldn't have gone. I'm telling you right now, I would have been like, I'm not going.
No.
I would have been like, send Greg, let him write the preview. No. Slicky Jim says, I'm wearing an Eagles shirt right now.
Wait,
Slicky Jim, you're an Eagles fan. Go Eagles. Oh, no.
I have a question. Though, about...
Don't take my fun away.
So here, I don't understand. So how do the Chiefs win every year? Because from my understanding is when you win the Super Bowl, you get last picks for drafts. So shouldn't they be giving the worst players?
That is, Greg, that's an amazing point. DJ tells you very easily. DJ says we cheat real hard.
Do they deflate the ball again, TJ? Is that what they do?
No, you're right, though. When you win the Super Bowl, you get the last pick in the draft, which the Chiefs did get the last pick in the draft. That's true. But the thing about the Kansas City Chiefs is that they currently have the best quarterback in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes. And not only is he the best quarterback in the NFL, he's probably top 3 best quarterbacks ever in the NFL. I mean, people argue about it and whatnot, but he is already in conversation with like the Peyton Mannings, the Tom Brady's. Like he is an all-time NFL talent. He's amazing.
He gets a lot of yardage, whatever that means, or whatever they say. How do they word it?
Yeah, I mean, he pulls a rabbit out of a hat on a football field every Sunday. And it's in sports, it's like a generational thing where every now and then an athlete comes along that it doesn't matter what team they're on, it doesn't matter who the coach is, it doesn't matter what's happening in the world. They just give their team a chance to win the championship every year because they're that good. The Bulls had that guy in Michael Jordan, where it just felt like no matter hell or high water, the Bulls are going to be in the NBA Finals because they had Michael Jordan. The Chiefs are kind of like that right now. The Patriots are like that with Tom Brady. My Ravens are like a pseudo version of that with Lamar Jackson. We're great every year because of him, but we can't get over the hump in the playoffs, so we don't go to Super Bowls. But still, they have the best quarterback in the NFL, Greg. It's how they keep winning Super Bowls. And also, they have a great defense. They have an amazing defense. They got a great defensive coordinator in Steve Spagnuolo. They got a great head coach in Andy Reid, who used to coach the Eagles. Of course, Greg, as you may know, Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce is currently dating Taylor Swift, pop sensation, one of the most famous people on planet Earth. Taylor Swift is from Pennsylvania and grew up an Eagles fan. and in one of her songs talked about her Eagles T-shirt and was cool with Andy Reid when he coached the Philadelphia Eagles. So there's a lot of like storylines at play here. Obviously now she roots for the Chiefs because her boyfriend plays for that team. But there's a lot behind the scenes. Sports more than anything are like a soap opera. Really, it's a drama. We're in it for the storylines, the legacy, the relationships. There's so much all riding on it all. And yeah, I mean, are the Chiefs and Eagles two very hated football teams? Probably. Um, is it kind of a terrible outcome no matter who wins? Sort of. Will Asif and I be playing Eagles versus Chiefs on Madden tomorrow on a Shack stream
Maybe.
to do our fun
Possibly.
to do our Super Bowl prediction? Maybe. Slinky Jim says, I'm pretty sure there are a few former Eagles players on that team, so it was unfair. Look, yeah, hey, and don't get me wrong, Slinky Jim. For your sake, I'll be happy if they win. You'll be the one Eagles fan I'll be happy for if they win on Sunday.
So if I were to
But
put all my money in my life savings to gamble, which we're not endorsing
right.
here, who would I put theoretically? Who would I put all the money down and by how many points?
Man, I'll say you have the wrong guy because I just do not sports gamble. I do not do it. A lot of my homies do. I just watch. If I was betting money, I mean, it's hard to bet against the Chiefs, right? It's like they're the best team. They lost 2 times this year, but it could be the Eagles' year. They got great players. They got an inferior quarterback, but they have a damn good defense. And they got some good wide
I
receivers.
think it makes it so funny is the shade people get. They like to throw at the other teams, like at the other team. It's they get these little like pop shots. So there's something. Their linebacker, their quarterback, the coach, whatever.
It's one of the great joys of being a sports fan is talking shit, and it's
Yeah.
the great thing about winning is
Yeah.
talking shit. Yeah, which depending on how you handle it, can be a lot of fun or very sad.
I miss good
Um,
Twitter when you and Austin would go off about Raven stuff. You know, I don't know what you
Ravens,
guys were arguing
Browns,
about, but it would
yeah,
just be
no.
like you'd see the replies, it'd be like 98, and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, yeah, those
I miss
days are
those
gone.
days. Those are good days.
Yeah,
Those were funny days.
but yeah, don't worry. I'll be tuning in this Sunday and watching, and next week I'll probably talk about the results. A lot of the trailers we watched today will be at the Super Bowl. Jurassic World, Fantastic Four will be there. That'll be fun.
Yeah, the
Like it
Super
just
Bowl, like
says,
the
"I'm worried I'm not
commercials,
rooting
right?
against City
I'll
team."
watch all the Super Bowl commercials the day after it ends on YouTube.
Yeah,
That's what I'll watch.
yeah, that'll be a thing. Well, hell, you can watch half of them now because now every company just puts them out like 3 days before the Super
Oh
Bowl
wow!
anyway
I
on
mean,
YouTube.
what? But like, dude, but people pay millions and millions of dollars just to have a slot. It's like
Yeah.
the Summer Games Fest stuff. Like they pay millions of dollars
Yeah.
to be having a presence there, or the Game Awards. It's a huge thing
Yeah,
because of the numbers
yeah.
number high, so
Mhm.
cost to do it high.
Yeah, I don't understand the business sense behind it. I'm sure somebody in marketing could better explain why they do that. But yeah, a lot of times they
There's
will
an
just upload them a
analytical
few days
equation
before.
about like viewership and how there's a percentage that
Mm-hmm.
leads to like how many will buy the product, how many will see the product, and then how many will buy the product, and how much you'll profit off that product. So it's an algorithm.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah,
use
yeah.
an analysis to do this. So like that's what they do. And like, but I know that there's some companies that like Budweiser that are just there because they kind of have to be there. Like like obviously
There's legacy. There are companies that
Yeah,
have
they
been
just have to
advertising
be
at the
there,
Super Bowl
yeah.
since the 80s that just always have a Super Bowl commercial. A lot of the beer companies, Doritos has been there forever. There's always a Doritos commercial. Yeah, we'll see. Always movie trailers. I'm excited for it. I'm a big sports fan. I love football. It's my favorite sport to watch. I'm excited for it. It's always bittersweet because I'm sad that the season will be over and there won't be football until September. But it'll be fun. It'll be an enjoyable game. And I got to get to a Super Bowl one of these days.
there was an
years.
old commercial in the 2000s, Donovan, you probably don't remember, but it was a Snickers commercial. And like
Mhm.
the guy, it opens up to like a field of the Kansas City Chiefs. Like he's cutting the grass, he's making it look pretty. He's doing he's painting the logo on it and painting their name on it. And then one of the football
Right.
players, a very famous football player, because I don't know who he is, but he goes like, "This is all great, but who are the chefs?" And then it zooms out and he spelled it wrong. And he goes, "So you got your E in your eye," and he goes, "eh," and then he just eats a Snickers. I'm like, hey, that's something I would do on accident. Swap and eat an eye. Now it's who are the chefs? The Kansas City chefs. You're not familiar with the Kansas City chefs?
Yeah. They did that. Yeah, they did that again recently, actually.
Did they really?
Yeah, they did a modern version of that
That's funny.
where the coach is like, "Wait, who are the chefs?" Yeah, because the guy's painting the thing on there. Yeah, Danny's right. Yeah, halftime show's gonna be good too. Yeah, we got Kendrick Lamar halftime show with SZA. Yeah, I'm excited for it. But I do think that with with that Super Bowl preview, I think it's good to go ahead and bring our show to a close here. want to thank everybody for watching, everybody for hanging out, talking about the movies, the trailers
Yep.
with us. Enjoyed it. Good discussions as well. Everyone who chimed in during the review segment as well, the Super Bowl talk. Thank you as always for being here. Our show will return next Thursday. But until then, that has been episode 152 of Shacknews Presents Pop Goes the Culture. I'm Donovan, that's Greg, and we will see you next time. Peace out.